events surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Well, good morning. It is a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. It's time. Let's go ahead. Get it up on the board. There we go.
Rodriguez had 3 hits in that one game. That was good. Yeah. Those were good.
Anything else to say about it?
D. Kramer pitched into the 6th.
Into the 6th.
Yeah. Okay. Charlie Morton didn't do that.
No, you're right. You're right about that. Well, he didn't actually get the chance to. Hi. It's Glenn Clark Radio. It's a Monday edition of the program. Got a lot to do today. Coming up on today's show, we will discuss the weekend that was for the Orioles. And there won't be a whole lot to say about it.
And we did, yeah. There we go.
Yeah, I think we've handled it. The hell will we talk about? Oh. Hey, remember how they lost? And then, do you remember what happened the next time? They lost. Oh, but then they also lost. Fun. Look, a lot of people wondering if today's the day that like something significant happens. I'm gonna say the same things that I've said. I still will be surprised by any significant change that they would make before Memorial Day. Stunned. Not just surprised. Stunned. At this point,
I mean, what, they'd have to lose 20 in a row? Like,
I don't know. Like, it's so funny you bring that up because I had this was a topic of conversation everywhere I was throughout the course of the weekend. I mean, the draft as much, if not more so, but the when do you fire the manager thing, I get it. I really do. I understand the reaction. Holy. I guess what I would say is that it feels like there are people that want to celebrate as if firing a manager is an accomplishment. I'll make a comparison. There was someone in my life who one day approached me very giddy, super happy, said, "I quit my job today." And I said, "Okay, is that a
congrats?
was it an accomplishment of some sort?
You escape? What's the?
Yeah, like were you being held against your will? Like what am I missing here?" And the response was like, "Well, I didn't like it." And I said, "Right. So did you get another job? Do you already have your next place of employment lined up, and so that's why you were able to quit? Is because am I missing the part where are you burying the lead? Is the lead, I've got this great new job, and so I was able to quit my other job?" And that wasn't the case. They had just quit their job, and so I said, "So you're just going to be unemployed?" I'm like, "Yeah, for now." If you need it out, then okay, like good for you for getting out. But your response is a little bit different than I would think would be a warranted response. And I say all that to say, firing the manager will not be an accomplishment for this baseball team if they were to go that route, if they were to end up in that place. By no means have you accomplished something if you fired the manager. As we all keep pointing out, it wouldn't change the woeful starts for some of the important players in this lineup. It wouldn't change how miserable the pitching's been. In baseball and most sports, sometimes you do things just for the sake of doing them. And I'll continue to say it. Do I think that any of this is Brandon Hyde's fault? Nope. Do I think he could end up getting fired anyway? Absolutely. 1,000%. I believe we could be moving into that direction. But the way we talk about it is it's winning replacement theory, where they're not winning, so make me feel like they won by firing somebody. Ooh, okay. Everything else remains the same. Everything else is just as it was the day before. And the problems are significant. Really significant. Anything unique about this weekend? Not particularly. Jorge Mateo got a couple of hits. He hadn't done that, so
now it's about to be a waterfall.
Yeah,
You know,
maybe this is the moment.
May's about to be Jorge Mateo's month.
I mean, I guess the only unique thing was them attempting to pull this opener maneuver on Saturday.
Thought it worked for a second.
Well, Keegan Aiken was good. But Keegan Aiken mostly.
Well, then Charlie Morton got one out.
Oh,
you
he
know,
did. Oh,
and then it was
got
like, oh, they're on to something.
Yeah.
And then he came out for the next inning.
Not so much. Not so much. But Keegan Aiken was good.
Yeah, he did. Should they start stretching him longer? What's the?
I don't think so. But I mean, at this point, can it get worse? Tyler O'Neill had to go on the injured list, so. I mean, I don't. I think that's a net neutral.
Anything? Yeah.
I don't,
Right. Darn.
I don't really know what to do with that. Although more Heston Kjerstad ain't great at the moment.
No, it's not.
Boy, it's a real bummer, right? Right before he got hurt, we were like, maybe the tide is turning for Heston Kjerstad. It turned all right. Shoot. I think I'm out of things to say about it. I don't think I've got anything else.
Well, we got Ace tonight, so.
The ace is going tonight, Tomo Sagano.
The stopper.
God, how sad is all of this? Yeah, at least they don't have like the Yankees coming to town. That would suck, right? Like, if when you're at your lowest, you'd have to.
They're struggling. I mean, they only beat the Blue Jays by combined 27-3 yesterday.
It's embarrassing, really, for the Yankees. They don't even have a closer, right? Like, which team would you rather be? The team with the closer, or the team without the closer? Ha ha! Suck it.
Yeah, that's right. Felix got a save last week.
Sure did. They got a closer. Gross. Just gross, man. It's moving into. I joked about it last week, but at some point, the sign goes down and we pretend like it never happened. At some point, we stop doing 3 up and 3 down. This is the part of it that you can't really discuss. There's this adage, and I've referenced it a lot throughout the history of sports radio, where people will say, "Isn't it better for you when the teams lose?" And it's the dumbest thing. Like it's said sometimes by smart people, but it's the dumbest thing. Because as I've said a million times over and over again, it's not even unique to me because I'm from here and I root for the teams and I care about them, right? Like when I first arrived in Phoenix, for example, somebody might say, maybe it's better that the Cardinals, that was the Dennis Green era, that literally like the first home game that I was in Phoenix was, and we let him off the hook.
Jeez, really does.
First home game. I gotta see. Maybe it was a Monday night game. It was in September. It was in the first month of the season. Maybe there was a home game before that, but I don't. It was early. It was very early in the season. Monday night game against the Bears. They don't get a lot of Monday night games in Arizona. Certainly at the time, they almost got none. It was the first season of the new stadium. So there was actually like a little
So
bit
it was
of,
October 16th, apparently, 2006.
all right, it was a
So I
little
guess
bit
there
later. It was still pretty early in the season.
Yes.
But it wasn't the first home game for sure.
They fell to 1-4 after a 1-point loss.
But they had a huge lead in that game.
Bears went on to the Super Bowl this year, right? Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
Yes, they played the Colts, correct. But they had a huge lead in that game. Like, they were up big in the first half. And that's... The Bears are who we thought they were.
They were up 20-0 at halftime.
Huh? And we let them up. Doing radio. And remember, because the Monday night games kicked off at like 5:30 local time, we were on still basically in like prime time by the time we came on post game. And so we had a night. And we were on until midnight. Like, we had a night that night. But somebody might say, wasn't that better for you? Because that got people angry and callers were, the phones were hot and everybody was pissed off and fired up and the whole thing. And I said, right, until I would go to the radio station and say, hey, are we doing any football adjacent events? And they'd be like, why would we do that? Like, do you not know how it works? This is Arizona. Nobody gives an S about football. The team sucks. I said, hey, Larry Fitzgerald's agent said if we want to have him on every week, we could do it for a very low cost. And they said, it's not really worth it to us. We don't think we could get a sponsor for that. Because it's never good when the team loses. It's not. Because people check out. Because there's just something else they can be doing with their time. You're probably already starting to feel it a little bit, right? Like, you're probably already starting to have that moment where yesterday the Knicks-Pistons game was really good. Well, at least it was really close. I don't know how good it was, but it was close. And, hell of a call there at the end. And you say to yourself, I could keep watching this, or I could go watch a basketball game. Or for those of you that are Capitals fans, you could go over and watch a hockey game.
Thank you for acknowledging
Yes,
me.
right. I know. This is a big moment for you. I understand.
So it was a thriller last night.
Significant. If you say so.
It was.
I believe you. I have no earthly idea. If they make the Stanley Cup Finals, there's a chance that I would watch.
There's a chance.
It really depends on what the Orioles are doing at that point.
Oh, well, they're going to be doing this.
Probably. And so if they are, then there's a good chance that I would watch. If they're, what did Dean Kramer say? We're just like a 7-game win streak away from
Yeah, they can
turning
do
everything
that.
around.
They've done that before.
When?
Well, 3 years ago.
Yeah, okay. All right. But that's what happens. What happens is people start checking out. They just say, I'm not going to spend my time with it. It ain't worth it to me. So, I joke about the idea that the board will go away or that we'll stop doing like 3 up and 3 down. But the truth is, at some point, if you guys aren't watching, then I'm not going to be watching. Like, if what you guys are paying attention to is the NBA playoffs, then I'm going to pay attention to the NBA playoffs. We'll create Whip Snake's Corner or something.
Yes.
I don't know what we'll do. Yeah, in the snake pit, we'll call it maybe.
Welcome to the snake pit, baby.
Yeah, right. Like I will do something else. I hope we don't get there. I hope something changes, but it's that thing where what's gonna change? When's Kyle Gibson pitching?
I don't know.
What is that all about?
I don't know.
Not that I think that Kyle Gibson's changing anything. I want to make that abundantly clear.
Could, maybe. Who
It
knows?
just feels really weird that.
He's hogging all the Fountain of Youth juice, and that's why Charlie Morton stinks, but Kyle Gibson's going to be good.
It's April 28th. Like, shouldn't Kyle Gibson be like, I know he needed to ramp up. Like, I understand that. But shouldn't he be pitching soon?
Let's see. All right. They say Roster Resource thinks that he could pitch tomorrow. But, I'm not sure what they're basing that on.
Who would be? Oh, because of the Well, actually,
That
that
would
makes
jump
sense.
Kate
They
Povich.
need a starter because they had to do the doubleheader.
Yeah.
But
Povich pitched Thursday.
I was going to say, they wouldn't need it for tomorrow. Povich would be available for tomorrow.
Yeah.
They would need somebody for Wednesday. That's when they would
Are you kidding me right now?
What?
So someone just said Gibson's dealing with minor back tightness.
No, he's not.
No.
Who said that?
Let's see. Who's got this? Roto? Kyle Gibson said he dealt with some back tightness in his last minor league rehab start with Aberdeen Sunday.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Nothing serious. He's still ready to join the big league rotation in Baltimore. Okay, I don't know.
Right.
Jim Hayes apparently said this.
I don't know who Jim Hayes is.
I don't know if I do either.
I apologize. I don't know what to do with it. He appears to be related to the Cardinals somehow.
Jim Hayes from the FanDuel Sports Network.
All right, yeah, he's on the. And that makes sense that he would know Kyle Gibson from St. Louis. Still, Jesus. Steve Molesky said that apparently somebody said something about Kyle Gibson having a sore shoulder. It actually might have been our friend Zach Moore.
Oh, all right.
And it's not great. Molesky says he spoke to Kyle Gibson. Says he has no idea where these people got their info. It's completely false. Only pain he's felt is soreness. The only pain he's felt is soreness in his back. Yeah, this is crazy. I just have back soreness, not shoulder soreness. I mean, I don't want to dunk on Steve. Like, I'm not trying to dunk on anybody, but like, if he's dealing with back soreness, I could absolutely say I don't know if you guys know. Glenn Clark, not a doctor. So here's your shoulder.
Yeah.
You know where your back is?
It's behind that. A little further.
It's like right there.
Okay.
So like, could easily be misconstrued. Lord. All right. Anyway, sorry. I didn't mean, I'm not going after anybody.
I'm trying to figure out when his last started, because this was not. They're not referring to yesterday. Apparently, this was last Sunday.
Last Sunday
that he was experiencing this back tightness.
It's not. I regret it. I already regret this.
And
decision.
they thought they
the
said
Orioles won no games, and I've spent 20 minutes on them.
Yeah, so the 20th was the last.
But you know why I had to do
pitched.
this? I had to do this because I didn't write my column about the Orioles this week, and I think Matt Torper had requested an Orioles column this week. But I mean, it was the weekend of the draft, so I did go with a draft theme for my column at PressBoxOnline.com. I'm sure I'll have another Orioles column next Monday. I'm sure that'll be the case. Yeah, Orioles-Yankees for 3 starting tonight. Go get them, boys. You got this.
Well, it's Will Warren.
Yeah.
Tonight, so who knows? I think
Yeah,
his ERA is like around 5-ish. And then you got the Carlos brothers.
Who?
The Carlos brothers.
Who are the Carlos brothers?
Carlos Rodon and Carlos Carrasco.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I genuinely thought there was something I didn't know about.
Well, I mean,
like,
I guess
what?
you're not familiar with the Carlos brothers?
Well, no, I wasn't familiar with them.
Back to back in the
Carlos
Yankees
brothers.
rotation.
I wasn't familiar with that. All right, today's show is brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel. That's where I'm going to be on Saturday. Starting at 5:30, we're going to be having a Kentucky Derby party. We'll be doing great grand prize giveaways for Best Dressed, Wear Your Derby Best for Best Dressed, and Best Hat. And we'll actually be giving everybody at Sports and Social, we'll have a chance to pull the name of a horse, and there'll be a great prize if your horse wins. We're just going to have a lot of fun in the lead up to the Kentucky Derby on Saturday. And then stick around after the Derby on Saturday because Sports and Social will be showing the Canelo Alvarez fight. I know we didn't get to do fighting words last week or Twib because of the draft, but they'll be back this week, I promise. That wasn't me kicking the segments to the side. It was just had a lot going on. So we'll get into this week's Canelo Alvarez fight. Coming up, but you can watch it Saturday night inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. So make a night out of it. Kentucky Derby, the fights, and, of course, playoff action throughout the day, baseball, the whole deal inside Sports and Social on that 100-foot media wall. Seriously recommend the Southwest Bowl. Very good. Very good. Sports and Social inside Live Casino and Hotel, Maryland. My column is specifically about Mike Green. I got to be honest. You heard me on Friday say, hey, you know, when the Ravens were sitting there at 27 and Mike Green was still on the board, I kind of found myself saying maybe they should go get Mike Green. And then when we got around to pick 59 and Mike Green was still on the board, I found myself saying, I don't think the Ravens should draft Mike Green. Because a fall that significant suggested to me that what is known is perhaps even worse than two kind of loose accusations that had popped up. Mike Green's a hell of a football player, man. An unbelievable football player. Was one of the leaders in the country, not just in sacks, but QB pressures and win rate. And, of course, we all saw the video of him putting Josh Connerly on his ass at the Senior Bowl. And there is every reason to like Mike Green. From a talent standpoint, you see someone that has the chance to become the Ravens' first, franchise edge rusher since Terrell Suggs. But that's why, particularly in an era where not every team has shared the alleged, but we always knew kind of nonsense, zero-tolerance policy of the Baltimore Ravens. When, other teams, like one in particular, has had a zero-intolerance policy. It became quite eye-opening that Mike Green slipped as far as he did. Now, a couple of things. First of all, I hope, beyond hope, that fall isn't because teams know other things. It's because they chose not to do the same vetting and due diligence that the Ravens chose to do, because the accusations were enough for them to say, nah, we're just not going to draft him. Now, you're probably hearing that and saying, really, Glenn, are you that naive? This is a really difficult subject to talk about, but I don't think it's one that we hide from just because it's difficult to talk about. And Bo Smolka will join us a little bit later on, and we'll have him talk about it. It's certainly, I know Bo referenced a couple times on Twitter this weekend that it's particularly interesting given the timing of what's going on with Justin Tucker, of course. And, the Ravens drafting another kicker this weekend. I hope the Ravens are being forthcoming. I hope the Ravens did exhaustive vetting of Mike Green and have genuine reason to believe that the accusations that were made against him were false, and have genuine reason to believe there's nothing else that could possibly be known about Mike Green, nothing else that I truly hope that's the case. Would it explain why so many teams didn't draft Mike Green? Not at all. Is it possible that there are teams that simply didn't bother to do the vetting? It is possible that some teams just immediately took him off the board and said, we're not doing this. It's possible. Again, given the caliber of Mike Green, the prospect, it feels far-fetched. You can only work with the evidence that you can work with. I've said before, very clearly to me, the concept of a zero-tolerance policy has always been, frankly, kind of silly. Not every transgression is the same. The things that I've always hoped a team would have zero tolerance for would be domestic violence, violence against women. And so this, in a binary sense, would fit into that category. The words that I've used to describe the circumstances by which I would hope that a team would not, the team that I root for, I want my kids to root for, would not employ a player, would be that I've used these words: preponderance of evidence. Right? That's the standard in a civil lawsuit. Not guilty beyond the shadow of a doubt. Preponderance of evidence. I always reference the Antonio Brown text, where he acknowledged that he had sexually assaulted a woman. And in that moment, again, this is before we knew all the other things that we ultimately knew about Antonio Brown, that was it for me. No, not on the team that I root for. I don't want him. Despite Antonio Brown being on, a heater of heaters from a football standpoint. If the preponderance of evidence suggests that someone has committed sexual assault or domestic violence, Glenn Clark, not speaking on behalf of a fan base, speaking on behalf of me, my preference would be they don't play for the football team. Now, some of you would say, right, but then the Kansas City Chiefs get all of them, and they build a dynasty, and it becomes a market inefficiency. You're competing with a hand tied behind your back. I'll live. Me, Glenn Clark, I'll live. There are things that matter more than winning. I hope that the Ravens, because they've fallen short in the playoffs in the last couple of years, aren't suddenly saying to themselves, maybe we need to change our philosophy. I hope that's not the case. I hope they really do feel as though they've done exhaustive vetting and have genuine reason to believe that these stories about Mike Green aren't true. And again, they've never turned into a criminal charge. And it's important that we say that. I had somebody respond to me on Twitter this week and say, I don't want my kids to root for the guy. And I said, I understand exactly how you feel, but we do have to acknowledge that we don't know way more than we do. And we need to be fair when we discuss it as well. Mike Green might be a wonderful human being. I don't know. There are 2 accusations that have been made against him, neither of which has gone any further. The Ravens are a billion-dollar business. They have the ability to, if they're not looking for a specific result, if they go in independent, they have the ability to try to get as much information as they possibly can. Same thing for the Justin Tucker situation. It's not easy. People might not want to speak to them. I understand. It's not that simple. But they have the ability to try. And I hope that they did. I hope that's the case. And that's the crux of how I feel. I can't pass judgment. I don't know. I'm not, as Brian Billick once said at the Super Bowl, I'm not qualified. I can't litigate. I don't know. Is there an uneasy feeling? Like, my evidence is Mike Green's an arguable top 15 to 20 talent in this draft and was sitting at 59. That evidence doesn't feel right. But that doesn't mean I know something. I don't. I hope Mike Green is a tremendous human. I hope that the accusations that have been made against him are false. I hope he is nothing but an unbelievable football player and stand-up human. And if false accusations have been made against him, I hope he gets justice for that in whatever way he feels fit. From a football standpoint, Mike Green at 59 is unbelievable. Man, if that's all you're looking at is from a pure football, that's unbelievable. It's a more complicated conversation. We understand that. The Ravens made, obviously we talked about Malachi Starks on Friday. The Ravens made 10 more picks during the course of the weekend. They drafted a new kicker, Tyler Loop. They drafted in the 3rd round, a fairly regarded offensive line prospect that might be in the guard picture. Like, we'll see, in Emory Jones. Someone who had played a lot of tackle. Like, we'll see how that goes. No local connections necessarily, but just a lot of really interesting football players throughout the course of the weekend that become Baltimore Ravens. I say no local connections. I actually think there might be a local connection for one of their later round draft picks. Went heavy on offensive linemen in the NFL draft. Did a lot of offensive line work during the course of the NFL draft, and that kind of makes sense given, after the loss of Patrick McCary, they were a bit, the depth had become a bit of a problem along the offensive line, so it makes all the sense in the world. And one of those offensive linemen that the Baltimore Ravens selected was in the 5th round of the NFL draft out of Alabama A&M. It's a pleasure now to be joined here on GCR by one of the newest members of the Baltimore Ravens. He is Carson Vinson, and he is with us here on GCR. Carson, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's really great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time for us, and congratulations.
Yes, sir. Man, I really appreciate it, man. It's been a whirlwind, but it's been just a blessed opportunity. I mean, I've been so excited. I'm itching to get to Baltimore.
Carson, can I be honest with you? Like, so when you just said yes, sir, like the joy that I heard in your voice, just to come on and do a silly interview after the draft is like infectious to me, man. Like, can you possibly describe? And I know it's probably different for you given your path, right? But can you describe, even before you've ever stepped foot on a field, even before you've put a jersey on, what it means to have reached this moment and to know you have the opportunity to fulfill this dream?
It's so crazy because I still tell the people, like, it don't feel real. Like, I don't know when it will feel real, and then maybe when we start practicing and getting past. But, I told my brother, I grew up and I played a lot of video games. And it's like, so through the draft process, okay, I'm going through the combine. It's like a video game. And I'm like, I really saw my name pop up on that screen. And, like, my name was it's like a video game. So it really still hasn't even felt real yet. It's a lifelong dream. I'm a man of Christ, and I pray every day. And, it's just really a blessing because all the things that I prayed for is coming to fruition.
Man, that's so cool. Carson, we talk about your path, right?
Yes, sir.
How did you end up at Alabama A&M? And when you got there, did you get there believing it could get you to the NFL, or were you worried that maybe you were going to need to, like, be there for a minute and then perhaps go somewhere else that could get you to the NFL?
Yeah. So, a little bit of my background, I'm from Cary, North Carolina, and, it's called the Triangle because there's Duke, NC State, and North Carolina right there, and none of those schools wanted me. And, Alabama A&M, they found me. They were my only full ride scholarship. And I took that offer. And, when you get to a school like that, every kid's dream is to go to the NFL. Every kid's dream to go to the NFL, even if you really can't see it. But, one thing, like my coach, Coach Taylor, he told me, he said, you always have to be delusional. Even if it's good or bad, be delusional because it seems like such a far reach. But if you just keep your head down and keep working, you never know what could happen. So, it's almost like a little bit of a delusion to go to a small school where nobody knows you, nobody even knows the school. Shoot, half the people still saying my school's name wrong, or I tell them I go to A&M. They think it's Texas A&M,
right?
Or the big school. So, so it's a little bit of delusion that you have to have, but it's really a belief in yourself that you can get to wherever you want to go by how much work you put in.
Do you like, now that you're here, right? Do you feel like maybe you needed that? Like, you needed to be at a place where you had to shine brighter, you had to be more dominant, you had to show at a more significant level. Like, if you had gone to your point, in North Carolina, would it have been easier to be complacent, perhaps?
Right, and I think that's one of the biggest things. I tell people all the time, I wouldn't have gotten to where I'm at right now if I didn't go to Alabama A&M.
Wow.
I definitely would have. It's easy to get complacent when you go to a big school out of high school. And out of high school, I really felt like I'm able to look at myself. And in high school, I really felt like I didn't work hard enough, or I didn't I didn't commit myself. And, you know, I was really big in high school. So quick story, when I was in high school, I was 350 pounds.
Shoo.
And I was like, man, you know, I felt like I couldn't move well enough. I wasn't athletic enough. And I felt like that's why I didn't get those big offers. So over COVID, I came out in 20. Over COVID, I said, you know, I'm going to really commit myself and I'm going to lose a lot of weight so I can be more athletic. And so over COVID, I lost over 100 pounds. So from my senior year of high school to my freshman year of college, I went from 350 pounds to 240 pounds when I got to Alabama A&M. Then I started as a freshman. So, like, it's really like when you go to a small school, you know, you don't have as much. So it really makes you learn how to work hard because there's really no excuses when you go there.
It's powerful to hear you say that, man. And I know it's something that you're proud to represent. We're chatting with Carson Vinson, Ravens fifth-round pick out of Alabama A&M. I heard you in the press conference on Saturday talk about, like, you know, being the first player from HBCU at the Senior Bowl and what it means to you, not just to represent yourself, your family, Alabama A&M, but in a way to kind of represent all HBCUs.
Yeah, I've been blessed to be put on this pedestal, and you know, so many people are almost living through me. Like it's really amazing. I know when I first got the Senior Bowl invite, even after games, they was like, Carson, like, we play against you all the time, like you can do this, like, and we're playing against each other, and then after the games, they're coming up to me like, Carson, you go to the Senior Bowl, you're gonna do great.
Wow.
Like we play against you, we know you're good, because the thing is, like, HBCUs, we have a lot of history and we have a lot of rivalries and we go at each other. But once we go past our spaces, we all support each other. Kind of like even when Grambling State, when they went to the NCAA tournament, you know, those are some of our rivals. They're in our division, but when they're in the NCAA tournament, they have all HBCUs behind them. So it's really the same thing. Like, we support each other so well because, you know, we had to stick together. So, man, the amount of support that I've gotten, not just from Alabama A&M, but from every single HBCU, every single black college, it's really been amazing.
That's awesome, man. That's a cool, very, very cool thing. And obviously there's now a group of guys that are looking at you and saying, all right, if he can do it, then I can do it, right?
Right.
Which is
right.
amazing.
And that's another thing, too. Like, you know, the transfer portal is a big thing. Like, it's a big thing now.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I was blessed enough that my father, he has a good job and that I didn't need the money right away. But I had a lot of offers to go into the portal. But I really wanted to straight too because those schools didn't want me out of high school, and that hurts. Like for any school, for any kid who didn't go to the school that they wanted out of high school that they dreamed about going to, you know, that hurt. And, you know, I didn't want to switch up on A&M because A&M never switched up on me. So it was really that loyalty to them. And I want to show the guys that, you know, if you're blessed enough that you don't need the money right now, that you can stay at your school and you can accomplish anything that you want to.
That's so cool, man. That's such a cool thing. Carson Vinson with us here on GCR. Carson, position-wise, we know you played, obviously, left tackle. Were you working at other positions in the process? Do you feel like, nah, man, that's what I do. I'm a left tackle, and that's what I'm going to be?
Nah, man. I've been working. See, my football journey, a lot of people don't know, is in high school, I played all five. My senior year, I played center in high school. So, you know, when I got to college, I started right away as a freshman. And, you know, I never really just lost my spot. But in practices, I always worked being a swing tackle, and I worked at guard during the games. And then even in this draft process, I've always been working both sides because, you know, I want to be versatile. I want to be a versatile player for years for the Baltimore Ravens. So any spot that Coach Warhop and Coach Harbaugh that they find me, that they can put me at, man, I'm going to play that. I'm going to protect it with my life. So that's just one thing I've always been working on. I always work on everything because the best thing you can be is available. So that's one thing I'm always working on.
There's no doubt about that. Do you feel, Carson, like you were going to be excited no matter where it was going to be? We understand that, right? Like if your name was called by the Jets, if it was called by the Raiders, it would be the dream, and there would be tears the whole thing. The fact that it is the Ravens, the fact that it is an organization with a track record of success and championships and, you know, a quarterback that I hear is pretty good and all of those things, can you describe maybe how much more significant that phone call is when it's an organization like that you're going to?
You know, man, the Baltimore Ravens is a Class A organization. And, you know, I almost get chills talking about it because not only that, the culture. Like, if you knew me as a person, and it's hard to kind of, and you guys will get to know me as more as, you know, this goes on, but as a person and as a football player, the Baltimore culture is who I am, is who I embody. You know, hard working, in the dirt, dirty nose, get it out. You know, and then also being a great human being outside of football. So everything that the Baltimore Ravens represent is who I've always been all my life. So it really felt like a match made in heaven. Even when I went on my visit pre-draft, you know, I went up there and, man, it felt like home. It felt like family. I told my dad, I said, man, like, I can envision myself being here. It's an amazing environment, and there's nothing else like it. Like, the Baltimore Ravens is a one of one.
That's awesome. Carson, it's funny you say all that, like the type of person you are, because we had heard about how well you had interviewed in the process, right? Like we had heard some rumors about that. Now, having the opportunity to talk to you, I completely get it. I totally understand. But I ask, where did this part of you come from, right? Like the part of you that is so thoughtful and is, you know, it strives to be a great person. Why is Carson Vinson the way he is?
You know, man, I've had a great support system. You know, I grew up in a God-fearing household. You know, my dad he's a great human being. He taught me how to speak. He taught me how to articulate myself. But my mother, she passed when I was in high school, but she was an art teacher. She's one of the most bubbly personalities you ever meet. Wow. And also, she's one of the most ferocious people you ever meet. Like, when game days, she was like, hey, Carson, it's time to kill him. It's time to kill him. And she was an art teacher. So, you know, man, I'm just a mixed bag of my beautiful parents. And so that's how I learned how to talk to people, because I'm really just, at the end of the day, I'm authentic. That's how I was in my interviews. And that's why I feel like a lot of people talk about my interviews pre-draft, because I didn't really go in there uptight. I said, you know, I'm going to give them raw Carson Vinson, and however they take it is however they take it. And that's all I can be.
I'm not trying to, you know, to obsess too much on your trauma, Carson, but what you just said, what does it mean to you that you can live this dream in part for your mom now, right? Like, how significant is that for you moving forward?
Man, it's amazing. Like, I know that she's looking down at me. She's just smiling. She's smiling, and you know, I've lived through her. You know, before every single game, I tell her, I look up, I say, just protect me. I don't ask for nothing else. I just ask for my mama to protect me, and you know, she does that. She's always looking out for me. You know, she's not here on this earth, but she's with me every day. So me just being able to continue to live through her, and I know she'll tell you like she's proud of football and everything, but she's more proud of the way I am off the field. I got my degree. I'm still doing my art. She's an art teacher, but I've always been an artist. I draw a lot, so like I live through her in multiple ways.
Man, that's cool. And again, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that at such a young age, Carson. But boy, that's beautiful, bro. That is really, really beautiful, man.
I appreciate this.
A couple things that jump out at me. One, we saw the matchup with you and Shamar Stewart at the Senior Bowl. There could be a few more of those in the coming years, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
You excited for that?
Man, I can't wait. Like, man, I'm a competitor. And, you know, I always say, like, there's dogs and then there's me. Like, people always love saying that they're a dog until they run into me. And I really embody that. And it doesn't switch on what type of competition I play against and what level. And a lot of people had questions on if it would translate. And I proved at the Senior Bowl that it does. And, you know, at the end of the day, I'm a learner. I soak up information. I'm a sponge. And then when I get on the field, I don't think about anything else. I'm just going. I'm going, and I compete. And that's just what I do.
That's awesome. And then what about, I wonder, because a lot of guys, when they go through this, they have teammates they're going through it with, or former teammates that are in the league they can lean on. Did you have anybody, you know, like, do you have friends that are in the league? Maybe even, do you have any connections with the Ravens whatsoever? But was there anybody that you were able to lean on a little bit during this process?
I've had a few, and I met a few along the way at the trans facilities I met. Then also a really small world connection. Corey Bullock, he plays for the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah. When he was at North Carolina Central, he was my host on my visit.
Oh,
he was my host.
That is wild, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's the crazy thing. He was my host on my visit.
For those that don't remember, Corey ended up at Maryland, of course, right?
Yes, sir.
And then,
yes, sir, he did.
Dude, have you had a conversation with him yet?
Yeah, I talked to him. Yeah, he's a real good dude, man. We go way back, but yeah.
That's cool, man.
That's my guy.
That's really, really cool. Carson, I was excited to chat with you because we had heard so much about you. I'm even more blown away after a conversation, man. And we are so excited for you and your family to get in here. Can we let Ravens fans know on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, anywhere like that, where can they be giving you a follow?
Yeah, I'm pretty simple. Just Carson Vinson. I'm Carson Vinson on all socials. So if you look up Carson Vinson, you should be able to find me pretty fast.
Is it Vincent Carson, at Vincent Carson on Twitter? Is that the one?
Yeah, on Twitter it might
Okay.
be backwards. I think that might be it might be backwards.
Carson, I don't know what else there is to say other than congratulations, man. So happy for you and your family, and can't wait to see you and to get to know you more over the course of the coming years here in Baltimore. Congratulations on being a Raven, man, and thank you so much for taking the time for us this morning.
Yes, sir. And I really appreciate you for bringing me on, and I appreciate you Baltimore fans for welcoming me with open arms. I've got a lot of support already, and I'm ready to go. I'm walking around right now, pacing around. I'm ready to go.
I mean, are you a seafood guy? Like, are you a crab cake fan?
Look, I've heard a lot about the seafood up there. I can't wait to get to try it because I've heard a lot about it.
All right, we'll be in touch. We'll get you out. We'll make sure we get you something good. All right, that's a promise.
Okay, yes, sir. I appreciate that.
Carson, appreciate it, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys. God bless.
Carson Vinson, Ravens 5th-round pick out of Alabama A&M. Very impressive young man, obviously, incredibly impressive, and. Boy, you could just hear that joy. Like, legitimately, him just saying, yes, sir. You're like, wow, that guy, he is still riding a high. That's a cool feeling, man. That's cool. That is the cool part about the draft, right, is that, like, you are watching guys. Like, those tears are real, you know what I mean? Like, that part of it continues to make it must-watch television.
And it's like you understand why less and less guys are not going to the draft on night one, but it is like every time that they're running down that tunnel, and it's like
I've thought about that a lot over the years.
And I know it's different with a round one guy versus someone like Carson.
I've always thought about like
but it is cool. And then hugging Goodell.
If you're at home, you can be around all of your people.
Mm-hmm.
If you're at the draft, you can be around some of your people. Obviously, we'll have to think about this when my kids, of course, are
right. Yes. Yeah.
We'll have to really think about what the appropriate way of going about doing it is. A lot of obviously the other big storyline from the draft specifically is the Shedeur Sanders stuff. Look, man, to me the biggest headlines for the Ravens are got two top 30 type players. We'll see. That doesn't guarantee anything, and obviously we know there's complications to one of them. But got really talented players, and the Steelers still don't have a quarterback. Those are the two biggest headlines to me from NFL Draft Weekend related to the Ravens. And I don't know what the Browns have. I have no clue.
Well, they got a bunch of quarterbacks.
They have lots of people who have
they throw the football.
listed next to their name. They have lots of players on the roster that say QB next to them. Do they have a quarterback? We'll find out. Like, are they? What is the good faith with Shedeur Sanders?
He's got to beat out Joe Flacco somehow.
That's a great point.
I don't know how he's going to do that.
It's a really complicated conversation. Have we done that already this morning? I don't blame. A lot of people are going off on Mel Kiper this weekend. Admittedly, I don't. I'm not going to sit around and watch 3 days of the draft. It's just not happening. I know.
What?
I know.
I thought you were Glenn Clark.
Yeah, right. So I only saw a little bit of the draft. The actual – I mean, Friday night, there was nothing else to watch. I did flip over and watch some basketball on Friday night. Minnesota-LA has been a really entertaining series.
Well, the way – I guess this wasn't Friday night, but, yeah, the way the Nuggets and
the Nuggets and Clippers have been
God.
Unbelievable, no question. I didn't get to watch any of that on Saturday, actually.
Yeah,
I watched some of the Rockets and Warriors, but I didn't get to watch any of the Nuggets and Clippers. But Friday night, we didn't have a baseball game to watch, so, I mean, I did watch a little bit more of the draft.
It was a pleasant night.
Yeah. It was better. They didn't lose on Friday. Got that going for them. So I did hear some of it, and I don't blame Mel Kiper. Like, I appreciate I don't think he articulated well. The clip that everybody's talking about from Saturday of him and Reese Davis going back and forth, where he talks about how wrong NFL teams have been about quarterbacks for 50 years. He's getting dunked on for that because, like, everybody's pulling up his quarterback rankings from over the years where he's gotten lots of things wrong, right?
May not
like,
take Trent Dilfer.
Jimmy Clausen's going to be – if Jimmy Clausen doesn't pan out, I'll retire. Look, man, in this business, people get things wrong all the time. I'm going to get things wrong. I'll never be someone that dunks on people for getting things wrong. We get things wrong. It's the faith in the argument that becomes the part that, like, the bad actors that they put on network, the ESPN, Fox Sports 1, that just say things for the sake of saying them. That's a different conversation than someone who does analysis and genuinely believes something and gets it wrong. I got way bigger of a problem with the process than I do the result. What Mel Kiper, you could feel, was trying to say was read John Eisenberg's book, read Rocket Men. Because the feel of what was going on with Shedeur Sanders felt like the types of things that have happened to so many black quarterbacks over the years. Now, again, defensive people would respond by saying, Cam Ward went number 1 overall. This isn't about race. Because you're only choosing to see it in a binary way, in a are you black, are you white? The Shedeur Sanders conversation seems to be about arrogance and how he handled himself and all of that. Because the point that Mel Kiper was trying to make is it sure as F wasn't about talent. And I'm not even the person that's trying to tell you that I know that Shedeur Sanders is going to was the
top 5 pick, yeah, whatever it is.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I have no idea. My gut tells me probably not. But what he most certainly wasn't was a 5th rounder. So all of this other stuff clearly was an impact on where Shedeur Sanders ended up getting drafted. And Mel Kiper's point is, boy, that sounds an awful lot like the coded language that we have used for so many prospects over the years. Although, oddly not Johnny Manziel, who had no shortage of arrogance and baggage. And it's a complicated conversation that doesn't come off well in a 2-minute snippet of television. But there's a point there, without question. I don't know if the Browns found a quarterback this weekend. They didn't think he was better than Dylan Gabriel. It makes complete sense for them to keep. The Browns need to be desperate for quarterbacks. It's absurd that the Steelers didn't draft Shedeur Sanders. You can say, hey, they got Derek Harmon, who everybody thinks is a slam dunk pick.
And they got
in the
Will
first
Howard
round.
in the 6th round.
Right. So they've solved their quarterback problem. They had the chance in the 3rd round to get Shedeur Sanders. It's laughable. By the way, I really do like Jack Sawyer.
Yeah, I ended up liking him too.
Yeah,
as the process
Kind of
continued.
like, man, I would have taken Jack Sawyer. If you're trying to make the argument against Shedeur Sanders, if right now you only see him as a backup quarterback, you don't want your backup quarterback to be a distraction. You're signing up, apparently in Pittsburgh, for what the greatest circus in football, for a guy that can't play anymore. Or is mid. His numbers weren't as bad as we're making them out to be, but he's mid.
He's got DK Metcalf now to throw to.
Right,
and,
right, because he clearly didn't have any wide receivers in New York.
I'm sure Alan Lazard will end up there somehow.
There's no chance that he won't end up there. You're signing up for that, for a guy with no upside. None.
Randall Cobb might come back, too.
Yeah, quite possibly. There's no upside on Aaron Rodgers. You're just signing up for the circus to go 8-9, 9-8, because Pittsburgh probably 9-8. It's poppycock. Again, as someone who cares about the Ravens, bless you. because there's a chance Shedeur Sanders might be a quarterback. So thank God you didn't take him. But if I was in Pittsburgh, I'd be baying today. I'd be trying to burn down the bridges. What the F are we doing? Will Howard's the answer. They got their guy. They got Will Howard.
They traded up for him, yeah. Right.
Mason Rudolph and the corpse of Aaron Rodgers. That's what they've got in Pittsburgh. God love them. All right, hour number one of today's show is in
National
the books.
champion right there, Glenn.
That is true. Thanks again to Carson Vinson for joining us. Appreciate him doing that. When we come back in, Bo Smolka will get his thoughts on the entire Ravens draft class. A lot of complications, a lot of discussions. We'll talk about all of it with Bo, PressBox Ravens beat writer, when we come back in on GCR.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. There, you just saved money with Easy Pass, all without slowing or receiving a notice in the mail. Well done, thrifty driver, well done. Get your Easy Pass at DriveEasyMD.com.
Baltimore's Classic 5 golf courses make golf fun and affordable. All 5 local courses, Pine Ridge, Mount Pleasant, Forest Park, Carroll Park, and Clifton Park, are challenging and fun for players of all skill levels. Book your tee time today at classic5golf.com.
Discover luxury without limits at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. This April, unlock a world of high-fashion delights and exclusive style. Earn entries daily starting April 1st and join our drawing on Friday, April 25th. 19 will win up to $2,000 in cash and free play. And one grand prize winner will take home a curated Versace homeware collection. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Something big is coming to Maryland, but it's more than what you think. Because this year, it's more than a race. It's the Preakness Festival 150. And if there's one event you don't want to miss, it's the Magic of Maryland music celebration with DJ D-Nice, Club Quarantine 5 Live, BSO alongside conductor Igmar Thomas, special performances by Deborah Cox, Jadakiss, Too Short, and more. Tickets are limited. Find them and see all other events free and ticketed at PreaknessFestival.com.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now, and on the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the long road back from Tommy John surgery for Orioles closer Felix Bautista, as well as Kyle Bradish and Tyler Wells. Also inside, we learn more about new Maryland basketball coach Buzz Williams from the players who have played for him at other stops. Plus, evaluators around baseball chime in on Orioles' top prospect Samuel Basayo. PressBox is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com. where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCRs, continue along on a Monday edition of the program. Coming up a little bit later on today, Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson. They'll be getting together at 4:30 ahead of the Orioles-Yankees opener. I'm sure it'll be super pleasant and lots of fun. They'll do their best to wrap their heads around how bad things really are. I know the guys in the bat around were trying to do that last night, and it's There's just not a whole lot to say at the moment. And, you just hope there's a – it's like we talked about all throughout the second half of last – you just hope there's a switch that flips. But how it's coming, I mean, obviously, certain guys offensively you genuinely believe can be better. But anyway, yeah, they'll be talking with you today live at 4:30. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports is where you can see it live. If you miss it live, you can check it out. YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline, PressBoxOnline.com/video. Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson, talking baseball, and all of Stan's shows brought to you by the Costas Inn. So make sure you're checking that out today, coming up at 4:30. Before we get out of here today, Jeremy Conn's going to join us, and then Andre Mills, another incoming Maryland basketball transfer, is going to join the program as well. All of that still to come on a Monday edition of GCR. We're continuing to discuss the we also need to get 3 up and 3 down, so we will do that for a week where the Ravens won one baseball game. I'm sorry, the Orioles won one baseball game. Let's talk some more Ravens right now. As this man was out knowing Mills this weekend, as the Ravens made 11 picks during the 2025 NFL Draft. A lot to cover with PressBox Ravens beat writer Bo Smolka, who's with us this morning here on GCR. Bo, it's Glenn. It's always good to catch up. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
You bet. Good morning.
Bo, there is so much to go through with this. I guess let's start because you and I didn't talk on Friday. So let's just start with Malachi Starks. And that, to me, was I keep coming back to just logical. It made all the sense in the world. It's a little surprising how much had gotten out about the Ravens' interest in Malachi Starks. It's very un-Ravens-like for that to be the case, but it was also very sensical. It's hard to debate or poke holes in the Ravens taking Malachi Starks in the first round.
Oh, I agree. And Eric DeCosta was telling us Friday night that Thursday night that he was a little nervous. This chatter about Starks, they prefer if their guy they want is really kind of not talked about a whole lot. But I think they identified Starks very early on as a guy they realistically could get at their spot at 27. He said, that they don't see the point or the benefit of trading up. It sounds like they never did consider trading up at that spot. But Starks is a guy. I don't know if you saw the video of Zach Orr in the draft room afterwards. He was ecstatic about getting Malachi Starks. Again, that people say, well, he didn't really have a position we needed safety, which I kind of disagree with, because I know Ardarius Washington settled that defense somewhat when he replaced Marcus Williams, but they really don't have anyone other than Hamilton or Washington that was proven. A couple rookies played a bit last year, but Starks is a guy that they can play all over the defense, as both Zach Orr and John Harbaugh had said. They can play him in the slot. They can move him around. He could be a dime backer. He can play deep. And one thing John Harbaugh, and of course Hamilton can as well, and one thing John Harbaugh said after the pick was that they love it because they can disguise what they're doing until the ball is snapped. And a quarterback is going to come to the line of scrimmage and think they know what's happening based on what they see from Starks and Hamilton, and in an instant that could switch. And that deception is something Zach Orr loves. And I think in Starks they have that, and they see him as a guy that can get the ball. I liked his quote when we interviewed him afterwards. His quote was, football is all about the ball. And the fact that he can get the ball, the defense can create turnovers is something that this team needs. So I think it was a really solid pick for them.
It's really funny, Bo, because you're kind of alluding to one of the things that we had talked about a lot leading up to the draft, because we were talking so much about Starks, was, are you looking to draft Starks to free up the idea for Kyle Hamilton to go back being a jack of all trades, or are you drafting Starks to keep Kyle Hamilton, in a true free safety role, which is where he really, settled this defense a year ago, and then you Starks in that way? And the sense that I get as well is that it's all of the above. It's we want to do all of these things, and this is what allows us to do all of them.
Yeah, I agree, and I'll be honest. I was one of the people that said this team was better with Kyle Hamilton playing near the line of scrimmage. But then when you watch him at the very back of the defense last year, patrolling it, pointing things out, physically speaking to everyone in front of him, things were more settled. There's no doubt about it. But I think it is all of the above. I think they will use both in all ways.
The next pick was one of the more I think there were 2 particularly complicated picks that were made during the course of the weekend, and Mike Green in the second round stands out. I saw some of the things that you said on Twitter. I'm writing a column about it today for PressBox. Bo, from a football standpoint, Mike Green at 59 is a steal, but we know the reason why Mike Green was sitting there available at 59, and it leads to a lot of interesting questions. I know the Ravens said all of the right things about having vetted and done their due diligence about Mike Green, but I do think there will be outsiders. There will be people that will ask a question about, have the Ravens looked at what's going on with, say, the Kansas City Chiefs and said, we've been trying to compete with a hand tied behind our back, and we've utterly and completely changed our philosophy now?
Yeah, it was a surprising pick to me, I'll be honest with you. We knew he was out there. This is a guy that had 2 sexual assault allegations against him. He denied both, and he was never charged. And it's also worth pointing out that no one really knew why he was suspended and left Virginia and ended up at Marshall. It was very quiet. And Mike Green is the one that brought it up at the Combine, that this is why I left and this is what happened. And he calmly answered questions I was not there, but I've been told he calmly answered questions about this for 20 or 25 minutes. So he was very upfront with it at the Combine. But having said that, this is a team, the Ravens, that for a long time wanted to give the perception that they had a no-tolerance policy in their organization. And this winter, with the Justin Tucker thing happening, it kind of became very clear that they really don't and never did have an explicit policy about this. I will say, so in many years, I would have found this pick to be surprising. I found it particularly surprising that the team is in the midst of an active NFL investigation over sexual misconduct regarding another player on the team. So that, to me, made it most surprising. And, yeah, the Ravens, in their press conference after he was signed or drafted, of course, a lot of the questions were specific to this situation. And they said, look, we did our due diligence. It was exhaustive. We talked to him. We talked to his players. We talked to the people in Virginia. We have our own investigators who go out and do this stuff. And they were defensive, but they were firm that this was a player that they were comfortable taking. And Eric DeCosta kept using that word, comfortable. And you could tell that they knew that there was going to be some pushback about this pick, and they were insistent that it's okay. And so we'll see. One thing that was very interesting was Ian Rappaport that night after he was picked specifically said there were organizations that had taken him off their board because they didn't buy the explanations. So the Ravens did, and they drafted him, and they will own the pick one way or the other. I agree. If you look at the production, it's a steal. He would lead the country in sacks. He's exactly what this team needs. But as I wrote, the pick does definitely warrant some scrutiny.
It has to, and that's the way that it works. And look, I hope that they really have done all of their vetting, and I hope that they have genuine reason to believe that, these are false accusations that were made against Mike Green. It is admittedly difficult to juxtapose that or reconcile that with the fact that he fell all the way to 59 as an arguable top 20 guy in this draft. Like those. But I don't know, and I can't pretend that I do, Bo, right? Like, this is the difficulty of the conversation. I cannot litigate any of this. I don't know anything and I can't make those types of claims as if I do.
No, and again, the other thing, and I know they're different cases, and they're definitely different cases, and they're different situations, but it was also interesting that there was already an investigation of this team going on right now when they chose to make that pick.
Well, let's go to that then. We'll skip through some of the other picks. Bo Smolka, PressBox Ravens beat writer, is with us. I would say then the next most interesting pick of the weekend, of course, is Tyler Loop, the kicker from Arizona. And Bo, in the column that I am writing today at PressBox, I'm going to say it is possible to me that given Justin Tucker's struggles last season, even if nothing about. There was never any knowledge of reporting about his past behavior in massage parlors, or it never happened, or whatever it is. The Ravens might have been in the kicker market anyway. So I don't know if this definitively tells us much other than there's a kicker that's not named Justin Tucker that's now on the Ravens roster.
No, that's true. That's true. They might have taken a kicker anyway. They had this pile of 6th and 7th round picks. Those are not traditionally guys that you hit on a lot of times, and they were likely to have another kicker here anyway, to your point. Now, every summer they have another kicker here. Now, in the past, as I wrote, those kickers have always known they're just really auditioning for other teams. A guy like Will Lutz came here as an undrafted guy, had a good summer, and got signed away, and he's had a good NFL career ever since. But this one feels different. because Tucker, partially because of his, as you said, even if nothing had been uncovered and there was no investigation, Tucker was not vintage Tucker last year. And at his age and at the point of his career, yeah, you might start thinking, he's got a couple years left on a contract, so ideally you wouldn't want that to happen. But you're right. I mean, this is a production-based business, and he did not produce to his level last year, so they probably would be looking again. It's a fascinating pick, though. Obviously, they've never drafted a kicker, so that says something.
Yep.
And I do think he's there to try to win the job. Now, again, the NFL investigation is kind of sitting out there, and Eric DeCosta was asked if there's a timeline on when they'll know anything, and he said they don't. But even if Tucker is suspended, for example, then that would take effect with the first game of the regular season. So they would need a new kicker regardless for whatever length of any suspension it is. Now you've got a guy that the Ravens say, their kicking coach, Randy Brown, Tyler Loop was the one guy that he coveted, and he looked all over the country this year for guys. So now they have him in the building. They have him under contract. It's not a case where they had to go out and outbid someone for an undrafted free agent to get him. They get him. They drafted him, and they have him. If Tucker is cleared by the NFL, well, then that's a whole other question, because then they're going to have a kicking competition this summer, and one of them is going to win the job and one isn't. And that would also be fascinating. So it is a very interesting pick, and the story of that is going to play out over the next 2 or 3 months, one way or the other.
I have floated this thought process out a few times, Bo, and I would tell you it came from a league source, not a Ravens source, that perhaps the Ravens could be approaching this almost as if they're hoping for a suspension of Justin Tucker to buy kind of an in-between here. Now they got a kicker, and to your point, it's a draft pick, but it's not a high draft pick. He gets the opportunity to go prove that he can be the kicker. If he does, then it's easier for them to move on from Justin Tucker after a suspension. If he doesn't, then perhaps there's a fan base that's, and it sounds gross to say it, more willing to be forgiving of Justin Tucker because they're desperate for a kicker. And I think that's plausible. I really do.
Yeah, I think that's plausible too. I mean, I do. It would basically give them a good free look at what could be there. And again, look, if this guy is as good as they think he can be, look at Justin Tucker. He's been there 12 or 13 years. This could be your kicker for the next decade, basically, if he is who they think he could be. And a suspension would essentially do that. And it's going to be fascinating, though, honestly, if he isn't suspended. If the NFL says, "No, we're good here. We investigated. Everything's good to go," because that's going to create another whole set of issues among the fan base.
Yeah.
So it's a wild thing to think about. We wouldn't have, 9 months ago that this would be a discussion of the team moving on from Justin Tucker. But I mean, it's going to be a very fascinating thing to watch.
Bo, as far as the rest of the draft class shakes out to you, obviously very heavy on offensive linemen and trying to find depth there. No wide receivers, which is interesting. We know they did address wide receiver with DeAndre Hopkins, and it's probably as good as they've presented at the wide receiver position for much of their history, but that still remains a fairly low bar. What else kind of stood out at you about the Ravens draft philosophy this weekend?
Well, I mean, they picked up another inside linebacker, Ted Buchanan from Cal in the fourth round, and that's a guy. Trenton Simpson had every chance to win that job last year and didn't. And Chris Board is gone now. Malik Harrison is gone now. And Buchanan's a guy that's going to probably come in and get a chance to make a case for himself. And a lot of people like this defensive tackle, Aeneas Peebles from Virginia Tech, as a guy that a lot of people viewed as a fourth-round guy maybe. And, again, it's not a deep defensive line now, so this is a guy that's going to come in and have a chance to show what he can do. It was notable after obviously to me, they 3 of the first 4 picks were on defense. That's where the board landed, and that's where they obviously saw their most needs. They were returning almost every starter on offense as it was. They didn't take a plug-and-play guard, which was a possibility. So I thought Andrew Voorhees, the left guard, is probably going into training camp as the starter, and so he was one of the big winners of the weekend, quite honestly. But Eric DaCosta did say after the draft very plainly that they had hoped to possibly land a big old run stuffer like Michael Pierce, who retired, and they did not. And so I expect that's one of the guys you will see signed in free agency. They've done it before with some of these defensive linemen that are out there. So they'll probably add some veteran defensive linemen that way. But again, I thought the 3 of the 4 defensive players right off the bat showed them where the board fell, but those are guys that will help right away.
And I know I said they didn't. I meant to say they didn't take a wide receiver until late because they did take LeJohntay Webster.
And he's probably and they were high on him as a punt returner. Now the other interesting thing with that, I listened to Eric DaCosta and Don talk about how excited they are about him as a punt returner, and it reminded me they said almost the exact same things a few years ago about James Crochet. And they were high on him as a punt returner, and it never quite amounted to being the punt returner they thought he would be. So we'll see if Webster can be more than that.
One position where they definitely didn't take anybody was tight end, and I think a lot of us were still wondering if there was going to be a draft weekend trade involving Mark Andrews. I had said all along, Bo, that once they gave him the roster bonus, it just didn't – it never really seemed to make sense to me. Why would you pay him the bonus to then just turn around and trade him for what was likely going to be pennies on the dollar? I know everybody continued to make something out of this, but I just can't be all that surprised by the Ravens not trading Mark Andrews. I think they believe they're a better football team, and short of someone coming in and offering something that they were never going to get, I don't know why you would just move. Why trade Mark Andrews for the sake of trading Mark Andrews?
No, I agree. The roster bonus was a kind of a message, and if they got a great deal they could have blown away with, maybe they would have done it. But I think you and I talked a month or so ago and said, well, what are you going to get for this Mark Andrews at the time? And is that going to help? You're going to lose him as a player. And what's the net gain versus the net loss there for a team that's very much in this competitive Super Bowl window right now? And if he leaves as a free agent next year, they'll get a compensatory pick that will be fairly high. They obviously weren't getting any draft compensation notably higher than that in a trade if offers were made for him. Eric DaCosta wouldn't say whether they were or not. But I agree with you. Once the roster bonus happened, it seemed unlikely he was going to move. And the bottom line is they're just a better team with him. And he's also highly motivated with the way the Bills game went last year. And I know that may or may not matter in the big picture, but this is a really competitive guy who is driven after the way that Bills game ended last year and how he played in it to kind of right the record there. So it didn't surprise me he wasn't moved, and frankly, they're a better team with him here.
That's the way that I feel as well, Bo. So, again, we all know the reality. He's not likely to be here long term. Isaiah Likely looks like the guy they're going to focus on, and all that makes sense. But that doesn't mean they needed to get rid of Mark Andrews for the fun of it. That was always very silly. All right, Bo, what you brought up defensive tackle. Anything else that you could still see the Ravens looking to prioritize now between now and the start of training camp as far as finishing off this roster?
I mean, I think they'll still – I wouldn't surprise me if they keep looking for more cornerbacks. They always like them.
Yep.
And I still think they'll look along the offensive line. If there's an offensive lineman, a guard especially, that's released along the way by a veteran team, not Josh Jones, but a Josh Jones equivalent type guy that can you have a veteran guy who's a player with NFL experience. Yeah, I think they'd kick the tires on that.
That makes sense. That would make complete sense in order to go that route. All right, Bo, are you doing anything? You got any vacations? You got anything like that lined up?
Not really at the moment. I'm trying to get my daughter through high school. She just committed to Notre Dame, so I've got another one going to Notre Dame.
Congratulations.
So here we go. I told John Harbaugh if I had known now what I knew 10 years ago, I would have bought a place in South Bend.
Right?
But
yeah.
I didn't know that then. So anyway, we're getting her through high school.
Was this a surprise to you that both kids wanted to go to Notre Dame?
Well, actually, it is. It is. Because my daughter originally, not to speak for her, but my sense was she, for a long time, viewed Notre Dame as his school, and she was going to go somewhere else.
Do her own thing. All right, I got that.
But then by the time she looked around, she looked at a lot of different places, and then honestly, her first choice was Northwestern, but she didn't get into Northwestern. And then she looked around other places, and then she just kept coming back to Notre Dame. So everyone thought it was a lock she was going there, and that is not completely true. She never gave Bucknell a shot. I'll just put that out there, too.
I know that hurts you. That hurts you deeply.
Anyway. But it's fine. It's all good.
At B Smolka, that's how you follow him. PressBoxOnline.com to see all of his stuff. Bo, I'm sure we will have reason to be in touch, but appreciate you as always. Thank you for taking the time for us.
All right, Glenn, thanks. Take care.
Bo Smolka with us here on GCR. PressBox Ravens beat writer checking in after the weekend. Well, and there's one other draft matter that we need to discuss. I have this sheet in front of me. Let's go over this. Glenn, in our draft.
I mean, yeah, you looked good after night one.
After night one, it was 1 for 1. Malachi Starks.
You think you were going to go 20 for 20?
The rest of my team. Xavier Watts, Siobhan Ravel.
Don't think
James Pierce.
Not Ravens.
Oluwafemi Oladejo. Jonah Savanea.
Close.
Gray Zabel. I did have him drafting a kicker.
Yeah.
Ryan Fitzgerald. Wrong one. Tez Johnson.
You should have known it was going to be Tyler Loop.
Nick
the
Scarton.
Looper.
Yeah, right, the Looper. R.J. Mickens, Josh Connerly, Landon Jackson, Denzel Burke, Jason Marshall Jr., C.J. Dupree, Harold Fannin, your guy, Rondé Gadsden II.
Who ended up taking Fannin?
Who did take Fannin? I don't remember. Jamon Dumas-Johnson and
the Brownies.
Your other guy, Cam Scadaboo, who went to the Giants, if I remember correctly.
Correct, yeah.
So I went 1 for 20. Griffin, after Thursday, was sitting on 0.
I was. And I honestly did not feel that great about any of my, at least my high-end guys, I guess.
His team, Tyler Booker, Nick Emanwuri, Shamar Turner, Maxwell Hairston, Mike Green.
Well, definitely, and I definitely knew that it was going to go 59th overall as well.
Griffin. Jack Sawyer, Kevin Winston, Trey Amos, Darius Alexander. Did he also go to the Giants? Everybody was raving about the Giants draft because it just felt like everybody we liked.
They got a quarterback and they need a quarterback.
Josh Simmons, Ariante Ursary, Zy Alexander, Mason Taylor, Benjamin Morrison, Cameron Williams, remind me, it's
Elick
Aomenor.
I think so.
Willie Lampkin,
give or take.
Akili Arnold, Trevor Etienne, Cameron Jackson. 1 for 20 as well. So a tie. Now remember, Griffin had the tiebreaker. So if Joe Serpico came away with 2, I'd be effed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Griffin had the tiebreaker. So Griffin is safe. Safe. He will not be consuming the pimento cheese milkshake. Now the question is it me or is it Joe? Joe's team.
Okay.
Derek Harmon.
Steeler.
Devin Ezeraku.
Forget where he went.
Don't remember. Azira Thomas. Shamar Stewart. Andrew Makuba. Jordan Phillips, the former Terp. Where did
Dolphins.
Dolphins, that's right. And they also got...
they also took Trader, didn't they?
Yes. They took another Terp. I just don't remember.
Ruben Hippolyte.
Ruben Hippolyte. Yeah. No, he went to the Bears.
Oh,
he went to the Bears. Because he went very early.
Yeah, 4th round.
Ty Felton
early
went in the
Saturday.
Yeah.
Dante Trader went to Miami.
Dante Trader was the other.
So Trader and Phillips in Miami.
He took a kicker as well. Andres Borregales, Quincy Riley, Omar Norman Lott, Lathan Ransom, Mitchell Evans, Donovan Jackson, TJ Sanders, Wyatt Milam, Tate Ratledge, Dylan Fairchild, Charles Grant, Kobe Bryant, Malachi Moore, Dante Thornton. 0 for 20 for Joe Serpico. 0 for 20. And because of that, our draft loser is indeed Joe Serpico. Have you discussed with Joe Serpico?
No, I have not yet.
We're next week for John Proctor and his milkshake. And, of course, John Proctor's milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, so you're going to make sure that we need security for this area.
We got to get ready.
Got to make sure we're covered for that. And then we'll have to Joe Serpico and I drink. There will be blood. I drink your milkshake. We'll have to do something like that. But yes, Joe Serpico, the draft loser.
Felt like you guys did a lot better 3 years ago when we last did this. Like I feel like you each got.
When the Orioles were bad, we paid a lot more attention to the draft.
KZ got Charlie Kohler.
Yeah.
And he got.
Wait, this was 2022.
Yeah.
Was the last time we did it. Yeah, the Orioles stunk.
Well, I guess he didn't. I guess that was the only one he got.
But KZ lost, right?
Yeah, KZ lost. So that was the only one he got.
Oh no, was that the year that?
It looks like KZ lost.
Because what's his face?
Paul
Valley lost one year.
Glenn had Linderbaum, you had Falele, you had Isaiah Likely, you were Jabo. Did you cheat? Tyler Beatty ended up. Did they brought him after?
No, they
did they draft him or was he a free agent?
Didn't they draft Tyler Beatty?
I can't remember.
I don't remember now. You're right.
So maybe 5.
Yeah.
Charles Cross.
God, I did do way better.
Jeez. Yeah. So you got 5. Paul got no one. Josh Ross.
Sixth round.
Linebacker Josh Ross.
God, I got 5.
Yeah.
What was I? Well,
okay. So Paul only got 1 as well.
There was a tiebreaker that year, and that's why Paul was the loser.
Gotcha.
All right. Still, but we all at least got 1, and I got half the class. Christ, I didn't realize I had done that well. There is. I can't speak to why I might have done better.
What do you mean you can't speak to?
I can't.
You cheated.
No, I didn't cheat, but I had a source.
Oh, come on.
At the time.
I'm not playing this game again.
No, listen to me. Not that was willing to tell me who the Ravens were taking, but was just giving me a little bit more information on who they liked. That's all. And that source is no longer someone I can go to for information.
I wish I could believe you.
I wish. Trust me, I wish. But as I said, I knew they liked Malachi Starks. That was something I was confident about based on all the information I had. All right, very good. That's a draft. Do you want to do 3 up, 3 down real quick?
Yeah, sure. We can do
man,
that.
it's not.
We can do it right about. When do you want to do it?
I would say now.
Okay.
3 up.
And 3 down.
Maybe the last of the season.
Might be. That'd be a real shame if we don't hear that open.
I agree.
3 up and 3 down, brought to you by the print issue of PressBox. It's got Orioles on the cover, so read it anyway. It's about the hard road back from Tommy John surgery for Felix Bautista and Kyle Bradish and Tyler Wells. Somebody said Tyler Wells threw a bullpen last week, so okay.
Good.
I think that's good.
He's still hanging out in the dugout, I think.
It's kind of hard to feel feelings anymore, man. Just hard to feel feelings.
Sorry, we're used to this.
But anyway, yeah, the print issue of PressBox available for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find PressBox. Read it all, PressBoxOnline.com. 1-5 week for the Baltimore Orioles. So we begin with the down, and I get it. You're probably going to still have him at number 1. It'll be incorrect.
Me?
Yeah. Charlie Morton's number 3 on the list.
Charlie Morton escaped my list.
Now that I don't know about either.
Again, he's been my number 3 or my number 1 the last 4 weeks, so give him a break, I guess, for only having to pitch
there were
2
lots.
innings.
There were lots of candidates. Charlie Morton stinks. He's number 3.
Ryan Mountcastle was my.
Ryan Mountcastle is number 2.
Number 3. What do you go? 1 for 16, and just not like anywhere. Like he's not taking his time in these at bats because I guess the strikeout numbers really weren't all that bad, but it's just because he's swinging at the first 3 pitches every at bat, and he's either going to go down swinging every time, or he's gonna be hit weakly somewhere. Mountcastle has looked. I mean, I'd rather see O'Hearn play every day. Like Ryan Mountcastle has not looked
our
good.
friend Zach Moore, Pigtown Sports. It might be time to have a tough conversation. Over his last 100 games, Ryan Mountcastle is hitting .241 with 6 home runs and 44 RBI, only 34 runs scored.
Yeah, I think it might have been Zach. I don't know. Somebody was talking about the trade rumors. Maybe that is could certainly be in his head. I mean, it just sucks.
There's no way to trade Ryan Mountcastle
when
right
he's hitting
now.
240 over his last 100.
I mean, like, imagine calling a team and saying, "Hey, would you be interested in Mountcastle?" And they'd be like, "Well, because you're releasing him."
This is when you're in your fantasy league where you're about to drop somebody. You're like, well, let me just send a trade to everybody.
I think somebody pointed out that he actually has options.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. I just closed the roster resource here.
I mean, it's crazy to think that could be the route that you're going with Ryan Mountcastle, but yikes. It just ain't great. Yeah,
he does. He has 2
options. Yeah. Ryan Mountcastle, number 2 for me.
Heston Kjerstad was my number 2.
Oh, boy, I don't know who you have number 1 that's not on my list.
The guy that pitched twice. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, sure.
Wow. Good. He wasn't good.
For you?
Yeah.
This has to be like
he wasn't on your list.
This is going to be like the
he
crying.
He walked 4 guys yesterday.
I don't know.
He was awful.
He was awful.
I mean, because he pitched in the 6th inning both times.
Yeah,
that's what we're
like. He wasn't good, but I don't know if I could say he's. If the bar is Charlie Morton, he didn't hit the Charlie Morton bar.
I mean, I guess because to your point, where
there's no way that
the pitching wasn't
Heston Kjerstad, and that part is part of it. Is that this was way more to me about the offense than the pitching. Heston Kjerstad, it's almost impossible.
He was number 2.
He had 20 at bat, 20 plate appearances.
Yeah, he did
this week. He had 1 hit. How many strikeouts? 10. He had a 500 strikeout rate. I don't know that we've ever seen anything like that. Heston Kjerstad to me was the easy number 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's so disappointing. This was his chance to.
Well, and again, before he got hurt, I mean, the little brief got hurt thing before he got hit by pitch. It looked like you were seeing the moment for Heston Kjerstad.
I mean, and it looked like his defense wasn't terrible, but he's been terrible at the plate.
Yep.
Dean Kramer was my number 1.
All right, up. Tomo Sagano,
the fan showing up in the stands.
Yeah, that's right. Tomo Sagano had a quality start with a miserable first inning, but it was a quality start. 5 base runners over 7 innings for the Orioles. That's miraculous. He's number 3.
Okay, so I went with 3 pitchers.
I definitely put Ryan O'Hearn on the list.
Oh, you did? Okay. Yeah. I mean, why? Because he had a home run. They hit.
He was the one guy that hit.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Well, him and Arias. I went with 3 pitchers. Felix Bautista was my number 3.
Okay.
There was a legitimate, one run, high leverage,
even that
situation.
Was still dicey.
He came through and got a save. Feels good to.
Yeah, I can't.
Felt good for a little bit.
I did think about Keegan Aiken just because he was put in that goofy spot and because he's been very good this season. He had another scoreless appearance last week, but yeah, Ryan O'Hearn's my number 2. He's the one that's hitting, so he's number 2.
Tomo Sagano was my number 2.
Cade Povich is number 1 because he delivered them their win, the one they had.
This was where I wanted. This is the insert, the GIF of Aaron Taylor Johnson in Avengers: Age of Ultron, where he's Silver Surfer, and he goes, "You didn't see that coming."
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
I sure did not. You're right.
That's Cade Povich this week.
Did not see that coming. All right, we'll get 3 Up and 3 Down posted at GlennClarkRadio.com because until we decide not to, we're gonna keep doing it. But you never know. You just never know when we say, well, we gave it the old college try, but it ain't worth doing anymore. Jeremy Conn's going to join us. We just saw him on Friday. I said, you could have the week off if you'd like. He said, no!
He's a soldier.
I demand that $0 check. I said, all right, buddy. You're back on. Jeremy Conn joins us when we come back in. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Discover luxury without limits at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. This April, unlock a world of high-fashion delights and exclusive style. Earn entries daily starting April 1st and join our drawing on Friday, April 25th. 19 will win up to $2,000 in cash and free play. And one grand prize winner will take home a curated Versace homeware collection. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an easy pass from driveeasymd.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. Learn more at driveeasymd.com.
What makes the Costas Inn so special? This is Stan the Fan telling you that it's the people that work for you, cooking and serving. But that menu is also special with a capital S. Soups, salads, the raw bar, pasta dishes, seafood specialties, and entrees like the Costas combos, steaks, chops, ribs, amazingly delicious meatloaf, and all manner of delicious spilling sandwiches including pit beef and turkey and subs. Of course, the steamed crabs are as good as you can get anywhere, and they serve them 12 months a year. The crab cakes are out of this world. Costas is open 7 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at 4100 North Point Boulevard. And coming soon, very soon, Costas in Timonium at the OTB Parlor at Timonium Racecourse. We'll get you the opening date real soon.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Want to improve your golf game or learn to play for the first time? The Baltimore Golf Academy has fun, instructional programs for the beginner golfer to everyday players. The Baltimore Golf Academy can take your game to the next level. Enroll today at baltimoregolfacademy.com.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR. You know who we didn't put on our 3 up or 3 down list was the lady who crashed behind home plate yesterday. Rough scene, man. Really
right.
rough.
Probably
scene.
deserved to be on the list.
Probably should have made the list.
Some of the best parts of the week.
Well, I mean, not for her. I don't think.
Doesn't affect us.
I guess not. That's a good point. If you just eats it, sitting in the real expensive seats right behind home plate at Comerica Park, this lady coming down with her beers just eats it. Eats it. I don't know what inning it was. Dean Kramer was still in the game, but my God.
Who tweeted it so I can show it real quick?
I think John Boy had it up.
Okay.
I think, didn't they? Right?
That sounds right.
I know Jeremy retweeted it. So if you go to Jeremy's page and scroll down a little bit, here, pull Jeremy up. He's there.
John Boy Media.
What's that?
It was John Boy Media.
Yeah, I thought
so there's
John
a John Boy, and then it's John Boy
Oh,
Media.
John Boy Media.
It was on there where that woman just ate it, and it was awesome.
Oh my God, man! Right? Like shots.
It was like the greatest fall ever. Like she literally hit everything she possibly could. Like
Oh
there
yeah,
was no...
a little bit of butt, a little bit of head, a little bit of everything in the process, man.
I felt almost so bad. Laughing.
You and I used to play kickball. Do you still play kickball? You don't still play kickball, do you?
Do you want to hear how my kickball ended? So I'll tell you real quick. I joined this team from a guy that was in a football league with me and started playing with him. And I'm too competitive because this was more or less he would pick up his friends that are like, so how do I kick the ball? And I'm going, do you pick that person up to play kickball?
Yeah.
So we get in the playoffs, and we're facing a team that we beat in the regular season twice. And we get into the postseason, and these goobers are just throwing the ball all over the field, and we lose. And I come out, and I go, what the fuck are we doing? Sorry. Like, what's going on? Why are you? And so I ended up, the guy that was running the team, I just told him, I said, I ain't coming back for this, man. You know how bad my body hurts after I play? Like, I am a walking mash unit, and every time I play, I hurt for a week.
Boy,
and I'm not coming out for this nonsense anymore. I was the a-hole too competitive for kickball.
Yeah, we would have had it. Proctor and I, we would not have settled. We would not have been okay with that. We are. I was always eternally the dude. What are we trying to prove here? This is where you and I know the type of competitor you are. I'm very much the like, dude. What you are a 40-year-old man playing in a beer league kickball. Like
somebody was like, well, you know what somebody said to me? They were like, we're all out here just trying to have fun. And I looked at them and said, winning is fun. Winning.
You have a problem, sir. You have a problem.
I'm on Jeremy's side of this.
Some guy joined our team that could not catch a fly ball. So, like, I was Kelly leaking it the whole time. I'd run in front of him and tell him to
just
move.
cut it off. Yeah.
And I felt like such an a-hole, but I wanted to win.
We were somehow our team, however, was in the finals one year, despite the fact that I would make fun of the people that were trying, and we picked up a ringer for the night because we were short a player, and this was somebody who really wanted to win, despite the fact they weren't even on the team, and he's barking. Oh no! Oh my God! You know who was my ringer?
Who?
The old boss's son, Barry. That was my ringer.
Really?
Deceptively athletic, man. You wouldn't believe it. deceptively athletic. And
No
so
way.
I had him in I had him in the outfield, and he starts. There was like I think the scenario was we were up by 1 late, and there was nobody, or there was a runner on first, and a girl was coming up, and he just said, "Dude, just walk." Like we had told him the walk was 2 bases for a guy when a girl was coming up, and he was like, "Dude, just walk him anyway." Like, what? Just face the girl. Come on, man. We want to win. And, like, I'm just screaming at, like, Barry, of all people. I'm, like, screaming at him, like, bro, I don't care this much about this. My life is not going to be different if we win the kickball league. Nothing's going to change tomorrow. I'm, like, screaming.
You don't know
from
that.
left. I'm at, like, third base. He's in left field. And I'm just screaming at him in the middle of the game. And people are looking
I almost
at
had
us.
one of my worst injuries out there in Bel Air. Fly ball in between me and the left fielder. I was playing center, and I come sprinting over, and I read it, and it's in between both of us. I am screaming, I got it, I got it, I got it. I went to take off and dive for the ball, and this guy came and just plowed over me, and you could hear my bones just crunch in the outfield. Her falling was not even a tenth of what happened to me. And I got back up, I finished the game, and the next day I couldn't walk. That's when it hit me like a car accident.
Our buddy's brother-in-law definitely tore his ACL. I want to say sliding, but it was really like falling into second base. Like just went, and he heard it immediately, and he knew. And one of the girls on the other team called for an ambulance, right? But his brother-in-law, I think, was like 24 or 26 or something. Didn't have insurance. And was like, oh no, like I'm not paying for an ambulance, right? Like, just get me in the car, just drive me to the hospital, right? Like, I'm not paying for an ambulance ride. And as someone who's paid for a couple ambulance rides, even with insurance, I don't blame him whatsoever. And so we're now trying to do the bit where we're trying to sneak him into the car as an ambulance is pulling up to those fields there in Bel Air. And so then the people get out of the ambulance and are like, hey, is there a situation here? And we're like, no, man, we don't know what you're talking about. Somebody called for an ambulance? That doesn't make any sense.
We had the same thing. There was a girl, like, heavier set Mexican girl who was phenomenal, man. Like, you would look at her and go, there ain't no way and she would just track down everything. She'd kick the hell out of the ball. It was a wet field, and her foot slid underneath her, and all of her weight came down and snapped her ankle in half. And it was a tough look out on the kickball field. And the same thing, we didn't have a choice. They called an ambulance and to come out there and get her. So, we were there forever. But if you've never seen a compound fracture or anything like that, that's gross.
I say all this to say, what was the bar? Was it Half Pints? Was that the name of the bar that everybody would go out to afterwards that was up there?
You had – I don't remember.
A lot of people went to Bushmill.
I was just going to say Bushmill was popular.
But I think the other one was called Half Pints, the one that was over on 22. And
I think you're right, but I because it was in Bel Air, I never went out after the game. So I went home.
This was still, we did. We went out every week. And so we go out, and I don't know what got into me, but a server experienced a fall that looked exactly like – You there? You got me? Did Jeremy just duck out? Jeremy, you there?
I'm here. You got me?
All right, yeah, we got you. You're good. So we went to Half Pints, and a server experienced the exact same type of fall that the lady at the Orioles game did yesterday. I mean, like, just ate it, right? And I don't know why, but I started chanting USA, and I couldn't possibly tell you what. Like, it felt like we needed to acknowledge what had happened, but I didn't know the appropriate way to acknowledge it, so I just started chanting USA.
Can I tell you what my buddy does, and it's perfect?
Yeah.
Is he screams at the top. If somebody drops something, if something falls off a table or someone falls, he screams at the top of his lungs, foul ball.
Oh, that's good.
Like there's a ball coming at you and everybody should look up.
Yeah.
And it's so
That's
epic.
a good
And when
one.
I say at the top of his lungs, it's like he's trying to get your attention from another planet.
like
Like
that
he
a
yelled
lot.
it that loud. Great.
I like that a lot. By the way, Proctor confirms it was Half Pints was the name of the bar. It was a nice place. Patrick Zeman worked there, and Dennis Shockett was always playing music, and we'd go up. It was a great place to be. I enjoyed it. All right, so did you guys do a breakdown this morning of the Bill Belichick thing?
No, that's the one thing we really missed out on. There was so much focus on the Orioles and Shador and the Ravens draft picks. And by the way, there's no doubt in my mind. I'm saying allegedly, just to try to cover any. She was I think she's a high-end escort, and it just worked out.
Wow. All right.
That's what I believe.
That's the theory. So Griffin wants to pull it up, and he wants to play it for people that haven't seen it yet.
All 8 minutes, right?
No, we're not going to do that for sure. Bill Belichick was being interviewed for whatever the CBS Sunday morning show is. It might just be called CBS Sunday Morning. I don't know. I've never watched, and I never will. But Bill Belichick's being interviewed, and he's wearing his finest tattered Navy sweatshirt. He pulled out the nice one for the big Sunday morning.
The one with 7 holes instead of 6.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's dark. Like it
just gets weird.
It just
and
takes a
quickly.
Do you have
weird.
it? All right, here you go. This is what it sounds like on CBS yesterday.
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
It's a topic
Weird.
one of them is comfortable commenting on.
Super
Jordan
weird.
was a constant
Man, what is...
I'm telling you, man, like, again, you look at what's going on, you can't talk about how you met, which means there has to be something that's embarrassing or that you don't want out there.
Well, what's weird in that is like the internet has dug up that they have concocted a story. They have an origin story. Their origin story is that they met on a plane. They've put that out in the universe before.
Nice meet cute.
That he signed a copy of his book for her the time they met while they were on a plane next to each other. They've created an origin story. He's not even asking a question that's never been asked before. They've got something. But suddenly she's not going to... What the F is going on here, man?
Yeah, I think she's... Again, I hate saying this about somebody that I don't know, but it looks to me like there's something else that's going on there. And the only thing that came to me is high-end escort, hit a gold mine, decided to stay. So,
I mean, if that's what it is, God bless y'all. How concerned, on a scale of 1 to 10, you're one of Bill Belichick's kids. How concerned are you in this moment?
I mean, I'm not if anything, he's just going to lose money. I'm not concerned about that. Like, I think that old man's going to go have fun. Go have fun then. If that's what it is. That's what you want. It is kind of weird. Like, we look at guys like Bill Belichick and even Robert Kraft and some of the other guys with all these young wives and how it's going. But like, I just saw an article the other day about Madonna and Cher dating young guy, and it's like, ooh, that's so gross.
Right. I don't really care if you date someone young. Like it's weird, but like whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't even. You're not dating. You're not married to a truck. So like, hey, you know what I mean?
I like when they date somebody young, and then they're either one or all of their kids are older than the person they're dating, so they're actually older than their stepmom.
That's always the issue that I have is more like this person has seeped their way in to try to control you, to try to control your finances, and to to have if I'm one of their this to me plays out like a lot of television shows and movies that we've seen over the years, where this is a bad actor. Like this person is acting in very bad faith, and like the person involved is, I don't know, too damaged or whatever to be able to see exactly what's going on there.
Yeah, well, I think didn't they just have a movie about this with the chick from Gone Girl, the crazy wife or whatever?
Oh, I don't know. You might be
where
right.
It's a little different, but she would go and try to take care of the elderly and get them to basically sign
over their
their control, and then she would just put them in a home and bilk them dry.
It's Anna Nicole Smith and that the oil guy, right, in Texas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she didn't do anything. She just managed to usurp her way in. That's the thing that I end up. It's so weird, man. It's so weird. But you know what? It's more pleasant than discussing the Orioles. So that's
oh God.
When is it?
We had So I was going to say we had Bordy on this morning and Ryan Ripken. I don't remember which one it was. I asked and I said, we can't put Charlie Morton back out there, can we?
I mean,
like it's just He walked 5 more guys.
I
like,
agree.
What are we doing?
But somebody's got to pitch.
I don't care. Let Brandon Knight pitch. Somebody's got to be better than this, man. This is just dreadful. But again, like I go back, I know there's a lot of people taking victory laps because of the off season and what's going on. But the injuries are why they're playing this bad. Like if they were middle of the pack or something and struggling because they didn't go out and improve their team, they're not this bad. This is just horrendous. And it's Jordan. I mean, there's so many guys on the team dealing with injuries that are playing through it. Jordan Westburg's hurt. So, and I think some of the other guys too. Like, what's going on with Mountcastle?
Well, yeah.
If we're going to sit there and watch that, why can't we watch Mayo?
Right, It's been a season like this now for Mountcastle. It's been basically a year with Mountcastle at this point where this has been going on. The conversation that's really tough to have is, what about Adley? Like, that's the really tough conversation because it's bad. And, yeah, you can say he hit the ball hard and you can say there's been bad luck and, like, all those things are true to some extent. But I don't know, man. Like,
I can't believe, like, I'm starting to agree with Ed and Rob when they said they were more worried about the hitting than the pitching. And I'm like, how can you say that? Now I've watched it. I'm going, how? They both suck. Maybe it's equal.
I'm still not there because I still at least have reason to believe that the hitting could improve, right? Like, whereas this group of pitchers ain't improving. I get it. The argument is, well, you could get Eflin back, you can get Grayson. There can be actual pitchers on this team before the season is over. But God.
Let's say they lose their top 2 guys. They lose Eflin and Grayson, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Suarez isn't hurt and if Chase McDermott's not hurt, do you think they're this bad? Because I don't.
I don't know, man. I don't know that they're a whole lot better, right? Like we got to the point.
But we watched one of them's a prospect. The other one we watched last year. Who I'm the one that was kind of beating up Albert Suarez all year long, saying I can't start that guy in the postseason because he puts too many guys on base. But he was a godsend last year.
He was.
And I don't know if anybody's kissed Cedric Mullins' feet yet, but he's been one of the only dudes hitting for
him. Him and Ryan O'Hearn. Like Cedric Mullins and Ryan O'Hearn have carried, I guess, Ramon Arias a little bit too, right? Like they've carried.
Yeah, I mean, Ramon's hit. Yeah.
Whatever offense you have has been from those guys, dude. It's bad to the point of like unwatchable bad. To the point of like yesterday, the Tigers score a couple runs, and I'm like, right, the Knicks are playing the Pistons right now, aren't they?
Watch the end of that game.
I think I know how this is gonna. Yeah, and then scream about how funny is it that they still do the bit where they're like they did the pool report after the game yesterday, and they're like, so you didn't call a foul there at the end, and the ref is just like, yeah, we F that.
Which do you prefer, the lie or the truth?
Right.
Because to me, they both feel bad. So.
The crazy part is that like how you don't have any system, and I get it. It's the NFL's the same way. The NFL lost their minds over the Saints-Rams thing, and then within a year went right back to a system where they wouldn't be able to fix it. Like the Saints-Rams thing could have happened, and there would be no way.
How about last
year
on opening night? They called all those offside, and then never called it the rest of the year, along with the hip drop tackles.
They said we kind of
in the playoffs we watched like 10 hip drop tackles, and it wasn't called once.
I also appreciate how I don't know if you were watching. I think it was Legler that was doing the game yesterday for ABC. Like, feels like he can't come down. They have to present it as if it's like 50-50. Like, it's a really close call. No, you idiot! It's the foul! Everyone with the brain can see it. It's not 50-50. It's horrible. And yet, I get it. Like, it wasn't the only bad call in the game. I'm not trying to, like, pretend like, the Pistons were robbed and they clearly were the better team or anything like that. I don't care. I don't bet on it. I don't like either of those teams. I don't give a rat's ass about anything about that scenario. All I know is presenting that like it was somehow close or 50-50. It was obvious what a bad foul that was.
You've got Tim Hardaway's AAU coach coming on later today,
yes,
right?
correct.
You guys have reached out that far. I think it's so awesome that you guys have contact to even get these guys.
You say that. We reached out to, I think, everyone that has any connection to every draft pick from the weekend, and we were able to have one of them on the program today.
Who'd you have?
Carson Vinson was on with us this morning, the offensive tackle.
That's the project, right?
That's the one from Alabama A&M, yes.
Project tackle. I mean, what do you think of the draft? Were you worried at all about the second round pick? And do you think it's bad that they took him?
I'm in a weird spot, Jeremy. Right? Like this is the only thing I'll say. Dude, from a football standpoint, I would have liked Mike Green at 27, right? You know, like that. Mike Green from a football standpoint, unbelievable. When he fell all the way to 59, I started to worry, oh, is there more that these teams know? Like, because I know who the teams are. They employ plenty of guys that have some really questionable things. So the fact that Mike Green was still sitting there at 59 made me wonder, like, is it not just these accusations? Like, is there more there? And I can't help it, right? Like, why would Mike Green be sitting there at 59? The only thing I say, because I don't know, right? Like, maybe it's possible that these were false allegations, and Mike Green is an exemplary human. Obviously, he's a great football player, and I hope he's nothing but a great football player and an exemplary human here in Baltimore. The take that I have is, I hope the Ravens haven't decided we're sick of losing in the playoffs. We are throwing out all of our, morals. We don't give a rat's ass anymore about anything. If it worked for the Chiefs, it'll work for us. I hope that's not the case. I hope sexual assault and domestic violence are still things that they care about legitimately, and if they have credible, a preponderance of evidence that suggests someone has done it, I hope that they still will choose not to employ that person. But I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a zero tolerance policy, and again, these are just accusations, the same thing we could say about Tucker, although, I feel differently about the Tucker thing because I know some of the people involved. But it's, I mean, I hate this because what if it's not true and then you blackball the guy?
Right.
Like, what about the punt god? If I don't know if that was true, what happened to him? He gets drafted or goes to the Bills, and you're like, oh, he did what? Yeah, we got to get rid of him right now, which I think is probably the right decision to make until you realize that he was. Well, I'm not saying he didn't do it. He was never found guilty. That's I got to change up how I word things now because too many people go, "Oh yeah, he was innocent." No, he wasn't. He just wasn't found guilty.
That's
so you don't
correct. Look, man, it is a difficult thing to discuss because I don't know. I have no idea, right? And I know we're always supposed to believe accusers, and I think inherently that's a good thing to do, but that also doesn't mean that every accusation has always been true.
The weird thing about that, though, is if you're a good player, then maybe the accusation isn't true. If you're not playing up to snuff, it's like, hey, it's time to get rid of that guy.
Obviously, yes.
Yeah.
That does tend to be the way that it works. But other than that, I don't know. The Shedeur thing was a lot. Mel Kiper losing his mind. I know what he was trying to say. I understand it. I don't think he articulated it.
I love Mel, but that was silly, man. It's just silliness.
You say that, right? I think what he was trying to say, if he had said, hey, have you read John Eisenberg's book, Rocket Men? Because if you have, you'll understand that the league has had a problem with this. Like, Shedeur Sanders might be arrogant and might have been awful in the process and all of those things. But, my God, you drafted Dylan Gabriel, right? Like, holy S, what are we doing here? Like, there is a point to be made that at some point it did feel stinkier than that. It felt, you never want to use the word collusion because, like, that's a hell of a
but I don't
thing to
buy
say.
into any of that, though. Like, I think what we're going to find out is the same thing that I believed all along. Shedeur is okay. He's an okay player. He's got the great pedigree. He's when it comes down to it, teams didn't want to deal with the BS. I mean, there were like 9 or 10 different stories about him. The one about him FaceTiming someone while he's in a meeting with the team, that sounds awful. The stuff that Matt Berry wrote. Matt Berry, I don't know if you know from
NBC,
Crocodile Dundee 3. He was one of the writers on that.
Not bad.
That's true, by the way.
Wait, is it really?
Look it up. Matt Berry was an assistant producer.
I thought you were going to say star.
No, he went on Howard Stern and told the story. It's
star
hilarious.
of FX's The League is what I thought you were going to.
Oh, no, but he put out 2 stories about guys, 2 different GMs that he talked to about Cam Ward and Shedeur. And he's like, walked away from the Shedeur meeting thinking way less of him, walked away from the Cam meeting thinking way more of him. And maybe it's because he followed that.
Right. I believe all of that can be true. I also know that the Pittsburgh Steelers apparently are signing up for the biggest circus in all of football for a guy that has no upside and can't do it anymore. Like, that's the issue that I have here is you can't – it still comes off vindictive. You can't be the team that says, we're going to let Aaron Rodgers be our quarterback with literally no upside. There's no upside there. Like, you're just signing up to be mediocre again versus the guy that, to your point, I don't think Shedeur Sanders is a rock star. I can't believe that somehow I'm going to end up being pro Shedeur Sanders out of all of this. It's nonsense. But, like, I don't think he's a rock star, but I think he might have a chance at being good. Maybe. And if I were in Pittsburgh, like, for me, it's great news that the Steelers came away from the weekend and still don't have anyone that might be a long-term answer at quarterback. That's tremendous news for the Baltimore Ravens that the Steelers continue to punt the position, the only one that matters in the entire sport. Like, God, may they do that forever. May they never address quarterback meaningfully. But if I was in Pittsburgh, I would want to burn the bridges. Like, what? Do you understand how this league works? The guy could be mother effing all of you. If he can play the position, give him a chance because we're effed without one. That's the part that I it just comes off really vindictive. And I get it. The guy, all of these things might be true. They might very well be true.
I have a hard time believing that they got all 32 teams to sit down and say, don't take this guy till the 5th round, and the Browns are the ones that end up getting him. Like, I think when you look at it, there's a handful of teams that needed quarterbacks, and some of them didn't want to bet on this guy being their quarterback. And when he got to a certain point, they took him. I'm looking at it. I don't think the skill is there the way everybody else does. And I've been saying it for forever. Like, he intrigues me, and I'd love to see what he can do. That's why if I was looking for a quarterback, I'd want to take him over all the other ones.
Right.
I'm very intrigued. But watching him, I'm not impressed with him. He doesn't have a strong arm. They were talking about he doesn't read defenses well, and he's, complex defenses can confuse him, and that's what you're going to see at this level. They'll find out whatever your weaknesses are real quick.
I think all that is totally possible, totally and plausible, right? I just still think that if I were in Pittsburgh, I'd like to know. I'm sitting there in the 3rd round, and I just like to know, because here's what I know we have at quarterback: dick, absolute zero.
Yeah, maybe I'm on that Steelers roster yelling, we're not even trying to compete. My body feels like this, and we don't even have a quarterback.
It's 100% the way that I would feel if I were you. You're asking me to go out here and do this, and this is what you're doing at quarterback? Get the entire F out of here. Yeah. All right, what's your week look like?
Well, so I got, Thursday I'm going up to Atlantic City to watch my son play paintball. He's playing in a paintball tournament. And he's been playing semi-pro paintball.
Like a pro tour?
He's going to Europe.
That's crazy,
man. Yeah, so he really loves it. That's all he does. So I'm going up to watch him play. And then I think for the rest of the week, it's just going to be, kind of going over all the Ravens draft picks, hoping. The Orioles got the Yankees, and usually this would be a big time where we all get excited. I do like Tommy tonight, though. I think the Orioles win, but it feels dirty saying that. It just feels weird. I think the Orioles are going to win and feel bad about it.
I hope you're right, but I don't know how I could feel confidence in it. The White Stripes got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame over Mariah Carey and over Oasis. What say you?
So, do you have a problem with it being called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Because it's the Music Hall of Fame, right?
Yes, it's the Modern Music Hall of Fame is really what you should be calling it, and that's fine. But that's the so if that's your argument on Mariah Carey, we've or not yours, but if that's someone's, we've done.
No, it's not mine.
Yeah,
I'm just
Missy Elliott and Dolly Parton are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's no debate about whether or not someone is about the worthiness of someone being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
But Dolly did have 2 bangers, so. Sorry. So
that's my
no, but with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, if you're talking about impact, there's so many great bands that didn't even sniff to get in. And then now what you're talking about, if I were going to talk about who had a bigger impact on music, and I love the White Stripes and I love Jack White and Meg White, I think they're phenomenal. Those other bands should have been in way long ago.
It's a really weird one for me because I think because of my age, my assumption is Oasis is definitely bigger than the White Stripes. But are they? And I love the White Stripes. Love them. Love Ball and Biscuit and Hotel Yorba are 2 of my favorite songs ever. I don't know. My buddies and I ended up in a debate about this for a while last night. I don't know which one is more deserving. I whatever. I got nothing else on this topic.
I think Jack White is a musical genius, and he'll probably even get put in by himself.
Yeah, right.
Get in twice because if you ever listen to him talk about guitars and music and riffs and stuff, it's just, it's a savant. It's somebody that just knows it all, and you're listening to it like he's speaking Greek or something, but he's so effing good. But you're right. I mean, when you start comparing genres, it's got to be like the Football Hall of Fame. It's like, how do I compare an offensive lineman to a wide receiver, to a kicker, to a coach?
No doubt, man. All right, buddy. Love you. How was your poops on Friday?
I came home and had 3 more mayonnaise hot dogs, man. It's my new favorite food. No, it's disgusting. I didn't eat the rest of the day.
Appreciate you.
I came home. I got in my spaceship, and I'm like, I'm definitely going to eat dinner. And then I didn't eat.
After that?
Get hungry.
And I know what you do. Jesus Christ. Although, in fairness, the one time you did it to me, I couldn't walk. So
well, that was the other thing I did to you, right?
Yeah, that's a fact.
Oh.
That's a fact. I couldn't walk for a week because of that one. Love you.
Love you, man.
ConcreteLots.com, JCon Sports on Twitter. We'll talk to you next Monday. See you, buddy. That's Jeremy Conn, 105.7 The Fan, Big Bad Morning Show. When we come back in, we'll get a tidbit. We'll get Tubular, and then we'll talk to Andre Mills, incoming Maryland basketball transfer. That's on the way. Glenn Clark Radio.
Something big is coming to Maryland, but it's more than what you think. Because this year, it's more than a race. It's the Preakness Festival 150. And if there's one event you don't want to miss, it's the Magic of Maryland Music Celebration with DJ D-Nice, Club Quarantine 5 Live, BSO alongside conductor Igmar Thomas, special performances by Deborah Cox, Jadakiss, Too Short, and more. Tickets are limited. Find them and see all other events free and ticketed at PreaknessFestival.com.
What makes the Costas Inn so special? This is Stan the Fan telling you that it's the people that work for you, cooking and serving. But that menu is also special with a capital S. Soups, salads, the raw bar, pasta dishes, seafood specialties, and entrees like the Costas combos, steaks, chops, ribs, amazingly delicious meatloaf, and all manner of delicious spilling sandwiches, including pit beef and turkey and subs. Of course, the steamed crabs are as good as you can get anywhere, and they serve them 12 months a year. The crab cakes are out of this world. Costas is open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at 4100 North Point Boulevard, and coming soon, very soon, Costas in Timonium at the OTB Parlor at Timonium Racecourse. We'll get you the opening date real soon.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now, and on the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the long road back from Tommy John surgery for Orioles closer Felix Bautista, as well as Kyle Bradish and Tyler Wells. Also inside, we learn more about new Maryland basketball coach Buzz Williams from the players who have played for him at other stops. Plus, evaluators around baseball chime in on Orioles' top prospect Samuel Basayo. PressBox is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Need a trophy or award that's as unique as the achievement? Look no further than Crown Trophy. With locations in Owings Mills and Gaithersburg, they specialize in custom trophies, plaques, and medals for any occasion. From sports and academic awards to employee recognition and corporate gifts, visit crowntrophy.com today and let them help you create a lasting memory for your school, team, or business. Crown Trophy is a proud supporter of the Maryland Public Secondary Schools Athletic Association. crowntrophy.com.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
All right, back in here on GCR. This is an interesting question. Chris says, Glenn, did you see the stadium announcement in D.C.? They're putting a roof on their new stadium at RFK. Does it make you wonder if the Ravens start thinking about that at some point? No. Two separate thoughts, right? I think every stadium should have a roof. I do. And I get it. It's funny, Marlon Brown's a really good friend of mine, and it would take away the greatest memory that we have of Marlon Brown's career, right? The snow game.
Well, we continue to meet the incoming members.
Should have a roof. I think that every stadium should have always had a roof. Retractable if you'd like, but retractable roofs are kind of not really in vogue at this point. because it's like the awkward, like a roof, a retractable roof stadium looks really weird when the roof is down or
or when it's closed.
No, when it's open.
Look, I'm thinking of Seattle. I feel like Seattle looks dumb when it's covered.
You think it looks dumb when it's covered?
Yeah, which I mean, I guess it's
because I guess you get a little bit of skyline. Do you get any skyline? You don't get any skyline.
You do when you're on the first base side. Yeah,
first base side. Okay.
Yeah. Although I mean, I think they're all pretty good because if you're on the left field side, you see the
Ravens are investing or are putting $600 million worth of state money into the stadium. There's not going to be a new stadium anytime soon. So there's not going to be a new stadium anytime soon, and they're not using the money they got to be concerned about a roof. I also don't know how simplistic it would be to put a roof over a stadium that already exists. I don't know how that would work. It's not happening. The Ravens decided to eschew the advantages of a roofed? Is that
I think
the way
roofed. I think it's roofed.
A roofed stadium. Like the ability to compete for other types of events, NCAA tournament, things along those lines. They made that choice. They decided that once upon a time, the brand of football they wanted to play, the AFC North, it was about the elements, it was about tough, that was the thing that they wanted. So that's what it's going to be. And look, Drew brought it up last week. What do you make of all the empty seats? Yeah, part of that is because there's like 2 nice weather games a year. There's like 2 weeks all season where you're like, God, this is a wonderful day to be at a football game. When the season starts, it's way too effing hot. And when the season ends, it's way too effing cold. And like mid-October, there's 2 weeks. You're like, man, what a great day it is to be at a football game. And we like to pretend, we just say things like, oh, you're just not tough enough. Oh, you're just, Jesus Christ. We are the dumbest of the mouth breathers when it comes to this topic. Lots and lots and lots and lots of people would say, hey, do you want to go to the football game on Sunday? No. It's going to be 10 degrees outside. I have no interest. No, thank you. I'm good.
Sounds like you're just not a football fan, though.
Yes, that's what it is. I'm not a football fan. I think every stadium should have a roof. I also think it's patently absurd to schedule a game. This isn't a football problem necessarily, like in baseball, like that might not be played. I've always found that to be an absurdity. People make plans around it. Do you give them their parking money back? No. Do you give them their... No, you just say, sorry, burden's on you. And how is that to your... You're asking for a lot of money for these experiences. That's part of the problem. Once upon a time, it was way easier to say, what, it's going to cost me for a football game? $40? $40, I go sit in the end zone. Yeah, it's cold, it's miserable, but it was $40. I paid $20 for parking. You know, tops, I spent $100 on the day. Now, it's $200 to get in. Like, these things matter. The experience has to match it. And yes, we all like watching Lamar Jackson play football, but believe it or not, there will be a time in the future where Lamar Jackson will not play football.
No, I don't want to think about that.
I understand. I don't blame you. And even with Lamar Jackson playing football, he'll still be playing football if you watch the game at home. I think it's one of the great mistakes the Ravens have ever made to not have a roof on the stadium. But there's not going to be a new stadium. They're putting way too much money into this stadium to think there's going to be a new stadium. So no matter how many other teams put roofs on their stadiums, the Ravens are committed to this. This is the AFC North, baby. This is what we do. We blood, sweat, and guts, and football, and weather. And
now you get it.
Yeah, that's the way that it works. It's just what it is.
I think it's much more the economic side of things. If it wasn't $200 to get in, it would be,
What?
In terms of filling the stadium, like if that's what we're coming back to the discussion, right?
No, because the tickets are all sold. It's not a problem with selling tickets. The tickets are sold.
Well, people going, I guess.
No, the part that's the problem with people with going is the weather sucks.
I think it's so much more the price.
The tickets are sold. The price isn't the problem.
Are we complaining about the stadium that there's not 75,000 people?
Yes,
in
people
the seats?
people own the tickets and choose not to go because it's not just the weather, but the entirety of the experience. They want the tickets because they might want to go to a certain game or they might want to go to a few games. But otherwise, between the weather, the entirety of the experience, the traffic, the whole thing, like, I don't care all that much about this one. That's how you end up with empty seats. But it's not because they're not sold. Like, look, I don't think the prices are a problem for other reasons. Like, you've priced out a certain type of fan, but these tickets are all sold. That's not the problem. The problem is people are buying the tickets and just choosing not to go because the entirety of the experience is meh. I mean, like, I give the Ravens credit for, like, the big games. They really do try to pull out all the stops to make it like a rock concert experience. And I dig that. I think it's cool. Like, whenever they have a primetime game, they really make it seem like it's an event. And those are the games that people tend to want to say, I got to be there for. But last year Washington was a big 1 o'clock game because it was Jaden Daniels versus Lamar Jackson. That alone drove people to the game. And obviously lots of Commanders fans wanted to come up for it. But he's like a random Sunday afternoon 1 o'clock game against Cleveland or Jacksonville or whatever.
Just go back to the example that you keep using, the 10-degree game against the Falcons a couple of years back. That was
God.
That was like Christmas Eve too, or it was like December 23rd or something
like that. Yeah,
that was a fun one.
I'm sure it was for you. Get back to me in 10 years.
Lamar Jackson wasn't even playing that game. God, it was like Tyler Huntley versus Desmond Ridder.
Shudder. And it's the type of game where somebody said, "Hey, do you want free tickets to it?" I'd say, "No, you couldn't pay me to go to that game." But if I was in Indianapolis, where there's a dome over the stadium, and somebody said, "Hey, do you want free tickets to go see Tyler Huntley play Desmond Ridder?" I'd be like, maybe, different. Take the family, the whole thing. All right, let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by County Sports Zone. CountySports.zone is the website. We are very near the postseason in spring sports, winding down for the academic year. So make sure you're checking out all of the scores, the schedules, the recaps, the news, updates, rankings, the whole thing. Find out everything that's going on in high school sports here in the state of Maryland at CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. But bully for the D.C. people. They seem like they're happy about the new state. I mean, obviously, they had the worst stadium in football, so, they probably could have announced they're building a stadium in West Virginia, and they would have been excited. It's not FedEx Field. Great. Or whatever what do they call it now?
Yeah,
Northwest.
Yeah,
they call it Northwest
like that,
something. Yeah, FedEx wanted out a couple of years ago.
Why?
Yeah, I can't think of any reason. They were in by far the worst stadium that existed in the NFL. So anything would be exciting, but I guess most of the fans of that franchise wanted it at the old RFK site because of emotional feelings they have for RFK. So bully for them. I mean, a bummer for Maryland, I guess, that is revenue that's lost, but bully for the D.C. people.
It would appear, unfortunately, according to Jay Kuda, that the Orioles probably aren't going to win the World Series this year.
Son of a bitch!
Yeah. Every team that went on to win the World Series prior to game number 27 had won at least 11 games. So the Orioles played game 27 yesterday. They were 10. They were just 10-16 now, 10-17.
That's it.
So you can go ahead and, I guess, cross off the Orioles, the Twins.
They're not winning with that attitude. I know that much.
Yeah, the Orioles, Twins, Pirates, White Sox, Rockies, all not reaching 11 wins.
How did that Nationals team that got off to they were 19-31?
Yeah.
They just happened to start losing now. Is that the way that it worked?
That you talk about the one that won the World Series.
The one that won the World Series.
Yeah.
Didn't they start 19-31?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they were
were they 19-8 and then just lost 23 straight games or something like that? Whatever.
They didn't start that. I mean, they just weren't a good baseball team through the first 2 months.
I understand, but uniquely they weren't. They apparently had won
11 games in their first.
Right. Yes. Here, I'll try to find their record through the first whatever.
So it was around this time that things started getting really.
No, it was
bad.
after Memorial. Oh, when it got really bad.
Really bad, to dip down to 12 games under 500. All right, whatever.
In May.
I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care. Move on. I regret it.
Well, I'm trying to find.
No,
I want to find the records.
No.
All right, fine.
No.
Fine. The one exception there was one exception, however, the 1914 Braves.
Love the 14 Braves.
The 14 Braves.
Oh man,
Yeah. All your favorite players.
Oh, Spinny McGillicuddy and
sure, probably. I'd love to think. They went 16-19 and they were not 16, 6-19-1 through their first 25 games, through their first 26 games. The 1914 Braves. So maybe the Orioles will join them as the only team to not reach 11 W's before Game 27. But maybe not. I guess we'll see. I don't know. It comes from Jay Kuda, our guy. Let's see what I had. Jordan Beck. You didn't know who he is?
Was he the pitcher? No, was that Jared Beck?
Yeah.
The 7-foot pitcher that the Orioles drafted.
Still with the Orioles. Jordan Beck is a Rockies outfielder. Second player in Major League Baseball.
Require me to know somebody from the Rockies.
Second player in Major League Baseball history to have his first 5 home runs of a season all come in the span of 2 days.
Okay.
Because I think they played a double header, and he hit a home run, and then he hit a 2 home run game, and then another 2 home run game.
This week in the rest of baseball?
Well, it was just a quick tidbit. The other was who was the other two?
Sure.
5 home runs.
Sure.
His first 5 home runs of the season in the span of 2 days.
Barry Bonds.
No, further back.
Babe Ruth.
Further back. Well, I guess right around the same time.
Around the same time as Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Honus Wagner.
No.
Ty Cobb.
Ty Cobb. There you go. 1925. Ty Cobb accomplished this. Only other instance. We did have a 4 home run game.
And a loss.
They lost.
Wild.
Eugenio Suarez hit 4 home runs, and it was still not enough for the Arizona Diamondbacks, who just clearly did not want to win, apparently. As Suarez came up and it was a game-tying home run, his 4th one was, and then they tried out the pitch that next inning, ended up giving up another run to the Braves, so they lost. But it was our first 4-homer game in 8 years. It was the 19th all time. I am looking at it was the 7th since the turn of the century. How many of the most recent 4 home run games?
Mike Cameron.
Yes, Mike Cameron in 2002. There were 2 in 2002. And then 8 years ago there was 2 in 2017 as well.
I feel like we did this once before. Was it Witten? Mark Witten?
He did it in 93.
Oh, son of a bitch. Yeah. Okay. They were Sean Green, right? Was the other one in
Sean Green in 2002, yes.
I feel like I'm going to get the older one. Josh Hamilton.
Josh Hamilton. Yes. Okay, how could we forget?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Didn't he have a shot at a 5th in that game?
I feel like he did. I feel like he ended up going 5 for 5 too, didn't he? And it was a double or something. I don't know. I'll find it. I'll find the box score.
Was the other one? Was Carlos Delgado in this side of the century?
Carlos Delgado. It was, yes, 03. Okay. September of 03. So Cameron and Sean Green in 02. Carlos Delgado in 03. Hamilton in 2012. Dos Persons in 2017.
My God. I don't. Mike Trout.
Not Mike Trout. Mike Trout has not done this.
Bryce Harper.
Nope.
Albert Pujols.
No Pujols.
Nolan Arenado.
Yeah, Hamilton went 5 for 5 and had a double.
Yeah. And I feel like off the bat we were like, oh my God.
Are you kidding me? 8 RBI game. Whoever you just said, I don't think was right.
Okay. It was Arenado.
No, not Arenado.
Giancarlo Stanton.
No.
All right.
Most recent guy to do it was also a Diamondback.
It's already 12:30, so we got.
Also
a Diamondback.
Yeah, but you're probably not going to remember his very forgettable Diamondback career.
Very forgettable Diamondback career.
Or maybe I'm completely wrong. No, you don't. No one's going to remember him as a Diamondback. I mean, Patrick will, but yeah, he spent the second half of 2017 with the Diamondbacks. That was the only time of his 6 teams.
One of his 6 teams. He spent the second half of 2017 as a Diamondback.
Ooh. He's a free agent. The Orioles could use him. Right-handed hitting bat.
Oh, J.D. Martinez.
J.D. Martinez.
Yeah.
Apparently does not have a home right now.
Yeah, no, we knew that coming into the season. A lot of people were like, let's still take a chance.
I mean, he's
on J.D.
37,
Martinez.
but, whatever.
Um,
Spent the back half of 2017 with the Diamondbacks. And in September of that year, 4-home run game.
How about that? There's one more, you said?
Yes, one more, also 2017.
Who? I mean, like
he was a Red.
2017 Reds.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's favorite Reds team.
I mean, what's his face? The first baseman, Votto. Jesus Christ.
Not him. Not Votto.
Brandon Phillips.
Not Hall of Famer Joey Votto. Soon to be. No Brandon Phillips either.
My brain just does not. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I don't even know why. Who the hell else would it have been? I don't know.
He was old Scooter Gennett.
Scooter Gennett had a 4-home run.
Yeah, he
game.
did. 4 home runs against the Cardinals, 10 RBIs.
All right.
Back in June of 2017. The first guy ever to have a 4-home run game in Major League
Babe
Baseball?
Ruth.
No.
Ty
Close.
Cobb.
Close.
All right. Just say it.
Teammate with Babe Ruth.
Teammate of Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Lou Gehrig?
Lou Gehrig in 1932, the first ever. Yep,
Okay.
yep. All right.
Let's get tubular.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right, here's what's coming up totally tubular-wise. The Orioles do open up their series with the Yankees. Go get them, boys. Will Warren and Tomoyuki Sagano, the pitching matchup there, 6:35 on Masson. NBA playoffs tonight. Cavaliers Heat Game 4 as the Cavs try to make quick work and sweep the Heat. 7:30 on TNT and True TV. Rockets Warriors Game 4 at 10. Do we know about Jimmy Butler for tonight? They won without him on Saturday, but
Jimmy Buckets.
Significant.
Let's see what Shams has been saying recently.
I'm going to say that it's a game-time decision or something like that. It's probably what they're saying. I'll just keep going because we don't have the time. ESPN Lightning Panthers Game 4 at 7. Avalanche Stars Game 5 at 9:30. Masson 2. Mets Nationals at 4:05. 4:05.
According to NBC Bay Area, they expect Jimmy Butler to return from his pelvic contusion tonight.
That game is also on MLB Network, the Mets Nationals and the rest of the country. MLB Network has Cardinals Reds locally at 6:40. It's also the free game of the day on MLB TV, and then Marlins Dodgers joined in progress late tonight. Netflix tonight for WWE Monday Night Raw at 8. Non-sports.
Don't be too upset, but it is the final episode. It is the finale on HBO of Celtic City tonight at 9. Yeah, last one. Last one.
Who do you think is going to die?
I don't know. Maybe all of them?
I think like Boston just dies. They kill off the whole.
It's also the series finale of Papa's House on CBS.
I don't know how to explain. I think I told this story that my son saw like a commercial for Papa's House, and then
this is the series finale, so I guess they're not doing it.
Oh, they're just bailing?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, so one night I asked him what he wanted to watch, and he said Papa's House. And I said, what? He was like, because he had seen like a commercial for it, and I put it on, and he clearly could not understand any of it. My younger son.
Well, you explained it to him, right?
And yet he didn't want to like acknowledge that it wasn't for him. Like he wanted to seem like cool. He was just like, I like this. I did not.
I like this.
I mean, I like
This
Damon
works.
Wayans. I like Damon Wayans Jr. It's fine. It's just fine. Nothing more than that.
Fallon's going to have Anna Kendrick and Jose Andres.
Yes, to plug Papa's House.
Really?
Obviously. Yeah, it's the finale. So they
how
gotta
about Adam Levine and Martha Stewart on Seth Meyers?
they're promoting Gemstones because the series finale is next week. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Adam Levine has a similar name to Adam Devine.
Gotcha.
So they got to
That makes
discuss
sense.
that.
That makes sense.
They
They're
got to discuss
they work
that.
with each other.
Yeah, 100%.
You got Kimmel's gonna have he's gonna have the entire cast of Thunderbolts and along with Billy Idol.
Yeah, they're promoting Maroon 5.
Really?
Yeah.
The cast of Thunderbolts?
Yeah, the cast of Thunderbolts
Okay.
and Billy Idol are promoting. They're like, do you know we're still a band? Or they're still a band? Do you know that?
They're still a band.
Were you aware?
All right, I guess.
Just awareness. It's an awareness campaign.
I think what Martha Stewart and Jose Andres are plugging is Yes Chef, which is a new cooking competition premiering on NBC tonight at 10 o'clock.
Man, Jose Andres is one of the best human beings on the face of the planet.
Anyone's into that. Him and Martha Stewart apparently going to be making fun of people's food. And then Netflix also has a chef, but it's like a docu-series, it looks like, Chef's Table Legends. And they dive into Jamie Oliver, Jose Andres, and Thomas Keller. And
a lot of Jose Andres?
Yeah, a lot of big Jose Andres day for some reason.
Love Jose Andres. Good man. Very good man. All right. Thanks today to...
I messed up when I said, what did I say? Silver Surfer when I was talking about Aaron Taylor Johnson in Age of Ultron. I meant Quicksilver, obviously. My bad. That was eating at me.
How can you show your face?
Well, now I can.
That's a good point. Right.
The last hour had been eating at me.
Thanks today to Carson Vinson, Ravens 5th-round pick. Thanks to Bo Smolka, to Jeremy Conn, and to Andre Mills, who we're about to hear from. We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the Say His Name and He Appears.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. On the program tomorrow.
We'll talk about the NFL draft.
Oh, God. That quick.
Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah, it just happened. Of course we're going to talk about it.
Thanks, everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including...
I think Patrick will join us.
I think so. Live Casino and Hotel, the Preakness Festival, Cruise Maryland, Crown Trophy, Easy Pass, Baltimore's Classic 5 Golf Courses, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Costas Inn, Maryland Sports, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Monday evening. Go Birds. Please. Duke sucks. Oh, we wrap up today's show. Sorry. I just got so depressed thinking about the Orioles again that I just forgot how the show. Wrap up today's show. I had to do this a little bit earlier, but an opportunity to catch up with incoming Maryland basketball transfer Andre Mills right here on GCR. Well, we continue to meet the incoming members of the Maryland basketball team here on GCR. And next up, someone who was with Buzz Williams at Texas A&M. And now he is coming to College Park, where he will be joining the Terps with 4 years of eligibility. He's Andre Mills, and he's with us now here on GCR. Andre, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to meet you, man. Thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
I'm happy to be here. How y'all doing?
Everything is good, man. Andre, your story is so fascinating to me. Can you take me back when you committed to Texas A&M? Did you know that, at that point, redshirting was a possibility? When did it become real for you? And why was it something not only were you willing to do, but obviously you were so on board with that you were willing to stick around with the coach and follow him to his next place?
So when I got to school, I wasn't sure coming in. I love the people. I love the environment. I love the culture. I love the program. I knew there was a good developmental spot for me, not just on the court, but off the court and mentally, being able to mentally be prepared to play in those type of situations, and just as a human being and becoming a man, So I think that's what was more important for me rather than playing, because playing will be there, and sometimes it's just bigger than basketball. So that's why I picked who I picked, and that's why I chose to follow him.
I feel like for a lot of people that this is going to be a concept that they can't fathom, right? Because we all think hey, we have our personal goals, the things that we want to do. Was it difficult for you at all to accept the idea of not playing, or was it as easy as you just had laid out? No, I'm where I want to be. I really don't care if I'm going to be on the floor or not.
Oh no, at first not at all.
Okay.
No, I'm a competitor. I'm a competitor. I want to win. I want to play. I want to take things by my own hands. But as time went on, everything kind of went by quick, just working out 2-3 times a day, lifting 2-3 times a day. I kind of got better, and the progress showed quickly. So I really wasn't really worried about it, because I know my time's coming real soon, and they have a plan for me. So,
did you have to have a conversation? Was there anybody you needed to talk to, when you were going through some of those feelings, that maybe helped you be at peace with that and say, no, I can still see the vision moving forward?
Probably my high school coach. His name is Tom Nelson.
Yeah.
Probably the best man I know, especially, coming from where we come from in the area, because it's just hard to find the real people like Tom. So I appreciate Tom a lot.
What was it about the Buzz, right? Coach Buzz and that relationship that made you say, if he's going somewhere else, I want to go there with him. I want to continue this?
I think there's the familiarity of him and how different he is kind of like what I'm used to back home, if that makes sense. Like, my AAU coach, he reminds me of Coach Buzz in a way. So, like, but he's also very different in a way as well. And then I've grown to be comfortable with him as well, because it's, like I said, it's just not all about basketball. So when it comes from genuine love and care for an individual human, it becomes bigger than basketball. You know what I mean? So
I appreciate that.
Basketball will always be there, but it's more so about the connections and the bond and the memories that we will create together. So I think that was like my most important point. Even seeing them play in March, like just seeing the environment, and obviously, like, I wish I played and I wish I'd been in the moment right there with them, but just the feeling of like, no, I could get here, but I want to get here with this group of people.
He is Andre Mills. He's an incoming Terp, and he's with us here on GCR. Andre, you talk about that group of people, right? It's obviously not just Coach Buzz and members of the staff, but there's already 4 of you that are coming together, right? With you and George, who I know there's another relationship there, but Solomon, of course, Pharrell Payne. How significant was that part of the aspect to you, as much as it's Coach Buzz, that it's a group of guys that you know, and that in I guess in some sort of way this feels more like maybe home because of that than maybe even staying at Texas A&M might have?
I guess it's the fact that, during the season when I wasn't playing, there'd be guys that's playing and high-minute guys like them playing, saying they can't wait to go to battle with me. So it's just things like that, and that's important. And that means the trust and the love, and obviously the talent is there. So
do you need that? Like where is, I guess after going through a year like this, are you still just as confident? You talk about being a competitor. Are you still just as confident in who you are and what you're going to be when you get on the floor this year?
Every day. It's all about your heart at the end of the day. So if that's who you are as a person, then it'll never leave. So I just think that I'm going to show a lot of people that, because that's just who I am.
I appreciate that, man. I think that's incredible. Andre Mills with us here on GCR. Andre, I assume that, like, family, friends, they are totally fine with the idea of you coming back to the East Coast?
Love it.
Yeah, right?
Love it.
Like that.
Can't wait.
Probably the best news they could have gotten was that you were going to be a little bit closer to home. Did you?
Yeah.
Was there any hesitation, right, when you found out that Coach Buzz was going? Was there, hey, maybe I want to go through this process again, see what my options are, or was it quick for you? Like, I want to be with those guys. I want to be with him. I know this is the place for me.
I mean, everything happened in like a week. It was very fast, but I'm not, like I said, I'm a big loyalty guy. I don't really, I'm not big on, like, throwing a pitch at me. I'm not big on that. I'm not big with salesmen. So, I just go with the people who chose me originally.
The wild part for me, right, when you say everything happened in a week, you like never even visited Maryland when you decided that you were going to come here, right? Like,
yeah.
You just said, I know the answer. Like, was there any part of you that was like, maybe I need to go check it out and at least get a feel for it?
I mean, yeah, of course. Yeah. But like I said, like, the love and the care is something that's unmatched. So.
Can you tell me?
And I'm closer to home, so.
Yeah, those are wins. There's no doubt about that. Can you tell me a little bit more about your relationship with George Turkson? Because that seems like that's probably a really uniquely special thing.
So me and George played on the same AAU team since, I don't know what, like 16 years old maybe. 16, 15 years old. So, just the familiarity with him on the court, the familiarity of, like, us both playing bad, us being yelled at, us, being up at a hotel at 1 a.m. eating Domino's together because we're both sad about our performances or life, or just talking about, real life stuff that, you can't talk about on talk shows. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just stuff like that goes unsaid. And it builds like a brotherhood.
I think you might have actually pitched a new talk show, though, in the process, right? Which is like Late Night Dominoes. I feel like you and I might be on to something now. where like we just maybe like record a show at midnight, just sitting in the room, two guys eating Domino's talking about life. I feel like you and I might need to go into business together and work on that in the future. The goals, it's funny because I think from the outside perspective, when you have a lot of players that are coming in, and yes, a few of you were together, but so many of them will be new, it feels like, boy, that's got to be difficult to make all of that work. To you, what does this look like, right? Like the next couple of months, as you guys are becoming a team and getting to know these new guys, is it as crazy internally as it is to the rest of us who are like, wow, this has got to be difficult, these guys, all finding a new place and figuring out their roles, or are you guys just used to it because that's basketball?
No, I'd say it is difficult, and I say it's difficult because not only will you have to find your role as a team and a player, but I'd say you have to find your role as in the group. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of big. Like I said, it's bigger than basketball. So, I don't know other people's personalities. I actually know Isaiah Watts because he went to South Kent.
Oh, right.
And, they played in the net back, so I played against him. I'm familiar with him a little bit. Not, like, close, but, like, I've seen him before, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, just the dynamic of that everybody is welcoming and everybody fits in because of the loving and the care. So if you're, like, somebody that's, like, a fighter and you're not sure and you're unsafe with your environment, I mean, eventually you kind of just latch onto it because that was me at first. Like, I wasn't comfortable with everybody. I was in a new environment. Yes, you have to compete, but not everybody is against you. You know what I mean?
I appreciate it. Do you guys like hop on a group text thread or something like that? Is there a way that you try to speed that process up somehow?
I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, there was like group chats, but I just think, like I said, this is the loving and the care. Just reaching out individually, getting to know somebody, getting to know the next person.
That's cool, man. I like the sounds of that. For those of you that were with Coach Buzz at Texas A&M, do you feel like maybe there's a bigger role leadership-wise, responsibility-wise, like, hey, we know and understand the culture the best. We're the ones that maybe are most responsible for spreading that out to this group of new guys that we're getting to know?
I mean, yeah, I'd say so. I mean, we're under one boat and we're under one leader, so, if you got to kind of have to fall in line with that. Like, that's just how it goes,
Can this be done quickly? Like, Andre, can you guys come together quickly and be ready to go compete atop the Big Ten next year?
I mean, it takes time, but I think it will be. I think once we get the chemistry, once we get the love, once we get the establishment that everybody is fully there for each other and trust each other, then yeah, it'll be beautiful. It'll be like poetry.
I know you were a 30-point per game scorer in high school. That's the role now, right? Like, now that you step back in.
I mean, I score points. So.
For people that aren't familiar with your game, Andre, what should they know about you?
Competitor, somebody that plays hard, somebody that makes plays. I'm not going to say that I'm just a scorer, but, I like to score points. I mean, I like to have fun with the game. Somebody that wants to win more than anything else. It doesn't really matter for me about statistics.
I like everything about that. All right, we got to get to know you for a minute because you brought it up. So you're in charge of ordering late-night Domino's. What's on the pizza that you're ordering?
Yeah, I'm a simple guy, just pepperoni.
Oh, man. Like, I'm not going to hate on it because a pepperoni pizza is still better than most things in the world, but you never try to mix it up or, like, maybe throw in, like, sausage pineapple, something like that once every now and then?
I don't like fruit on my pizza, but I've had, like pepperoni sausage. I've had, like, what is the other ones? Like the,
people
not
do
anchovies, but, like, they
onions,
put, like, different vegetables.
peppers.
Yeah, I've tried that type of stuff. It's not really me. I just like simple pepperoni. I feel like you can't mess that up.
You know what? When you are right about that, it is really hard to screw it up. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. When you're not playing basketball, when you're not hooping, what is it that you're into? What is it that, like, your other interests are? Tell me a little bit more about yourself, man.
Play a lot of video games. I have like a friend group from back home. Shout out to my friend group. But, you know, we play a lot of video games together. We just kind of hang out, play basketball, work out, just talk about life. I just feel like I'm starting to get into, like, scenery. Like,
oh, that's cool.
Like taking photos of like different things in the world, you know, just getting out to see new parts of the world.
Like nature photography, that type of stuff?
Yeah, nature, yeah, for sure.
That's
like,
awesome, man.
Yeah.
Do you then get excited about like being in a new place in the world geographically for you, like a place that you've never
Absolutely. I've never been.
That's cool, man. Like that's really cool. And obviously it's not far away from like DC. There's lots of history, that's a really, really cool thing. Are you familiar with how obsessed Maryland fans are with their own state flag? Has that been made clear to you?
No, not yet.
Bro,
Not yet.
you are about to be in a different world, my friend. Like, it is on everything. It is all you see everywhere you go, man. And I would assume as a Boston guy, though, you've got to be at least some level of a seafood guy, right?
I don't like seafood.
Oh, this is crushing. Oh,
yeah,
God.
this is, yeah.
No, so you weren't kidding about like the simplistic thing when it comes to eating. Like are you like the guy that orders chicken fingers wherever you go?
Not everywhere I go, but yeah, if they're good.
I mean, I do. That's actually a pretty good answer. Like, I'm not going to hate on that whatsoever. Andre, if Maryland fans want to get to know you more, are you on social media anywhere, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere like that they can give you a follow?
I have all those things. Andre 2 times on our platforms.
Give him a follow there. Andre Mills, man, it's great to meet you. It's great to get to know you. Can't wait to see you as you get here to College Park in the fall and to see what you guys are going to be able to do. Thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning, man. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Go Terps.